Oh, hello, everyone. Sorry to keep you all waiting. We're live with episode 16 of Cosplay Photo Critique. Um, yeah, sorry we're late to start up today. We, once again, you think we should know better by now, but we had technical difficulties. Mostly stemmed by me having to reformat my computer about a week and a half ago because it decided to crash during a Windows update. So
It's not
uh,
me this time.
yeah, it was on me. I didn't change specific settings, so I pretty much couldn't get Discord to be screen captured, and it took me a while to figure that out. But we made it. We made it, folks. So we're live. If there's any
You're
technical
so
problems
proud.
this time, please feel free to tell me, and I will try and get that sorted. But I'm just happy that we're even live right now. So. This episode we are joined by Jin of Behind Infinity, which is really awesome that they were able to make this work because it's not a fun time to be podcasting for you, I would imagine, at 8:30 ish in the morning.
It's cool.
MVP.
Yeah, no,
I mean, I watch you guys, so
Oh shit, you're right.
yeah, you're just like, I'm on anyways, so like
yeah.
No
we're
biggie.
trying to give you credit here, and you're just
Yeah.
like, no, I won't take it. Um, so I want to give a quick thank you to the people before the stream started. Typical Trick, Bang Fang, and High Memory Area for the follows, as well as special thank you to Fluffy Fox Photo for the subscribe. I appreciate it. Just wanted to get that off the bat since I saw you guys did that before we even were on the air. So major appreciation. Let's see. Let's just get right into talking about not me, not any of this, and about Jin. Let's get to know Jin better. So, Jin, what you kind of do a little bit of everything in terms of
Yeah.
cosplay. What do you consider yourself, or do you not to like? Do you consider yourself a cosplayer, photographer, editor, or is there anything, or are you just kind of like, I don't care what I'm labeled, like I just kind of am here having fun?
Yeah, that's about it. That's why it's so hard for me to write anything about myself. It's always just like
All the things.
new stuff. Yeah,
Can do
have
everything.
all the fun.
Then maybe what do you end up doing more of? Because certainly that I probably enjoy shooting photos more than I edit, but I spend a lot more time editing. So is there kind of a thing that you end up spending a lot most of your time like proportionally doing?
I think in terms of cosplay photography, a lot of art direction and editing. Because I don't know, when I conceptualize a photo, I really want it to be a certain way. And my friend, uh, usually it's Resh, uh, he likes shooting more than he does editing, I guess. So he leaves that to me, and we just kind of talk about what we both want. And yeah, that's how we work. So apart from, making stuff, the costumes, the makeup, uh, I don't get to shoot a whole lot because I usually am like in the cosplay group. So I have to be in front of the camera.
Yeah. Are you one of the main people that's like conceptualizing the photos? Because like all the photos that I've seen of yours always have like a really strong storytelling component to them. And is that kind of one of the major things that you like to bring to the table with your photos?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. I think I always want things to be kind of cinematic. Like I think of it as like if there was a live action of this title, how would I want it to look? That's kind of the constant aesthetic, I suppose, that I go for when it comes to cosplay photos.
I do want to elaborate that you also can do this like on the cusp. Because like when we did our Kingdom Hearts shoot, that wasn't planned at all. But you had all these concepts in your head. And you were like, oh, we should do this and this and this. And I'm just standing there like, oh my god, my brain can't think that fast.
I think that's super impressive because like, man.
Yeah, I was super impressed. It takes me weeks to come up with something even remotely interesting if I have time to plan. So
yeah, I just don't. I'm not good at the storytelling component. Like,
it's hard.
It's like one of the weakest areas of my photography. Most of my shots have next to no storytelling in them. So Jin, how did you get into cosplay and or cosplay photography?
I think there was just one time that my friend and I were looking up something about Final Fantasy VII, and we were on Google Images searching, and like a photo of this group of cosplayers showed up, and I was like, "What is this? These aren't game graphics; they're too good." And then when we got a better look, they were people in costumes, and I was like, "That is so cool! I want to do that."
That's awesome. What was your first shoot that you did?
I think the first one. What was it?
Was it Death Note?
We before that, I would join like gatherings, and I think the first one I went to was a Naruto cosplay gathering, and nobody was Naruto. Like we had so many other people. There was Zetsu, there was like Shino, and all these people, and there was no Naruto. And I think that's part of why I was like, hey, why don't I try being Naruto?
And look what happened. Look where we are today.
Crazy.
Hell yeah.
So that's interesting. You got into cosplaying almost from like the idea of like wanting to create photos from it. Is that kind of
yeah that was always my goal. Like I want to make these costumes so that I could do a shoot.
That's amazing. Like that is not even remotely close to I think most people's paths. I think we all just no, vast majority of us started as young little weebs that like we're just like, oh, dressing up's cool, and we never thought about like getting photos anything beyond like just like a quick like snap of our cosplays like when we
I used to dress up and not get any photos, just like wear my Uchiha shirt to school. Hell yeah.
Stop. Oh my god, my friend Beth is gonna die. Oh my god. Oh, that's all of us. It's fine.
I know.
That's great. I'm trying to think if I had any other questions that I'm forgetting.
Oh, I know. This is a good question, I feel like. Do you have any advice for people who are just starting to get into cosplay and photography too? Like any tips or advice?
I think, just pick a title that you really, really like. I think that's what helps me like come up with the storytelling aspect. Like if I feel strongly about a series, like I want to make the costume good, I know exactly like what I want to express through the photos, and that'll just keep pushing you because you know cosplay is expensive and migraine inducing, and if you're doing it for a title that you like, it'll be worth it. And I think with photography also, people shouldn't be too hung up over equipment, I guess. Because I just right now too lazy to use a DSLR at all. I only use the Sony RX100, the little pocket cam. But yeah, I've done some of my cosplay shoots with that little thing, and I think like if you like
you're kidding me.
If you saw the like Akira and Akechi, like the super spoiler Persona 5 shoot, that was all on my little cam.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
See, guys, equipment doesn't matter. I was bamboozled.
I've published some shoot photos that were like straight up from my iPhone.
Cool. Me too.
On that same kind of advice, I would ask, do you have any advice for people about bringing kind of those storytelling elements into your work? Like, how do you go about coming up with these ideas?
I think of scenes that like really hit me, or um things that I feel that I would want more people to appreciate, even if maybe they're not familiar with the series. Like to pick something that, um, even if you don't have that context of knowing what the series is about, could like draw you in and make people appreciate it. Um, yeah, so I try to pinpoint what those scenes are for me, and yeah, like I said before, kind of visualize how I would want it as like a live action thing.
Do you come into it with references, or do you just kind of like have those ideas floating in your head and then go like, how do I want to make this happen, and figure that all out
It's a
while you're...
little of both. Um, so like when Sarah and I had our Kingdom Hearts shoot, we had screen caps on our phone just to guide us with like how the lighting should be, certain poses that we could do, and we could kind of build on those references and then do our own thing eventually. But yeah, keeping like a bunch of reference images on your phone really helps a lot.
I'm terrible. I always put them on my phone, but then never look at them during the shoot.
I
Oh
forget
man.
that I have them. I'm like,
Yeah,
oh yeah, I had this whole folder organized for this
yeah.
shoot.
I'll
and I
get
use
home
none of
and be
them.
like, man, it would be really cool if I'd done like an idea based off of one of these photos.
Yeah, yeah, that's why like especially when we do these location shoots, and like how often am I gonna see Sarah? We wanted to do like all the things and make sure we didn't miss anything. And we were there like shooting until there was no light.
Yeah. Uh,
Uh,
still can't remember. Still can't believe.
I
I,
know.
I love Alexandria Lee's comment in the chat. She says, "I print mine out, otherwise I'd forget." That's
Yeah,
impressive.
I worked with a photographer when I was in Australia, Rachel or Fiathriel. I hope I'm saying that right. Um, she had this whole like she had a PDF of everything she wanted to do, and the shots were laid out, and like there was even like descriptions.
Oh, like a
So that
shot
was pretty
list.
cool. Yeah, yeah.
That's cool.
And she directed us really well. So yeah, that was another thing where we didn't want to waste the day, because how often
Yeah,
are we going to be able to work together?
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome. With that, let's do a little bit of housekeeping, and then we're gonna jump into the survey results. So let's switch things here. So, wanted to get a couple things cleared up in terms of the critique submissions for future critiques. First thing, we listened to your feedback, and we wanted to up doggo levels.
Oh, he's
No.
so cute.
So God, now my train of thought is totally dead. No, so if you're submitting photos, keep in mind that we only do one photo per person per critique. So if you submit like 2 to 3 photos, I may move some of those photos into like future critiques, and maybe we'll use them there. But for the most part, just if just submit one per critique, and we'll go from there. Also, if you are a cosplayer and I'm submitting a photo that, like, if you've edited it or you're just like want some feedback on it, please, please, please make sure that you're getting permission from the photographer to submit the photo for the critique, and let me know in the notes when you submit, because otherwise I can't use that photo, because I don't want to go critiquing someone's photo live on stream and the photographer turns out to not be okay with it and then get shit on because I just don't want to be in that situation. So if you're a cosplayer submitting, please just get let me know that you got permission from the photographer. As always, while we're doing this, we're closely following chat. So, we love it when you're chatting with us and doing the critique along with us. So we might miss some things, but feel free to be a strong part of that. And as continuing to let you guys know that we're taking suggestions for guests. So if you have guests that you want to have on or would like to see, let us know and we will potentially be try to get them on. I'm trying to press my guest button, but it on my keyboard or my stream deck, but it doesn't want to do that. So hold on, that should work. And with that, let's get into the survey results.
Boy, howdy.
Yeah, so if you didn't know this up until now, we did a survey and we're asking for your guys' feedback on the critique. We got 35 responses, so I'm pretty happy with that result. So we're just gonna go through it and break it down and kind of give you our thoughts on the results and let you know kind of how we think this might shape the critiques in the future, or like things that we can do or can't do. So let's jump right into it. So okay, so first question here was on a scale of 1 to 5, 5 being the highest, how much do you enjoy the cosplay photo critique? And this made me happy. Oh man, all my comments from my keyboard apparently went through all at once. Sorry for spamming the chat there, guys. But the results on this one made me really happy. Apparently, just about 50% of you guys think we're worthy of a 5-star. You rate us much higher than I would, so that makes me really happy that you guys
we're
feel
average.
so positively about
Rash.
us. Hey Reshki, thanks for the bits. For most of the rest of you guys thought that we'd be like a 4 out of 5, and then a handful of you gave us a 3 out of 5. Honestly, I'd be totally happy with a 3 out of 5. I feel like I feel like maybe that's the work that we that's maybe where I feel like we're at right now, so we could get a lot higher. But the fact that you guys are enjoying it so much just makes me really happy. So that's just awesome, and I'm so happy you guys are enjoying it. Okay, next up, this is a question.
Viewer here too. You guys are great.
Oh, stop.
So this is a question that Sarah and I have mulled over for quite a bit. Is do you feel that our critiques are too hard or too soft or are just right? Apparently we're sitting in the Goldilocks zone because 65% of you guys think that we are just right on the hardness of our critique, which is good. We try to I'd say be pretty balanced. We don't want to tear anybody apart, but we don't want to let people off easy. 25% of you guys thought we were too soft.
Those are art students.
Yeah, I appreciate that. I do think on occasion we're probably softer than we maybe should be, but you know what? I'd rather be too soft than too hard in this context. And three of you guys thought we were too hard. Suck it up, guys.
Welcome to the real world.
3 people that viewed were like, those sons of bitches were just so hard on my amazing art. I'm just kidding.
We should do one. We should do one where we do like real critiquing, like what we'd do in school.
Oh man.
Yeah.
That was my life every day for a while.
Yep. It's hell.
Mm-hmm.
So, whoops, scroll too far. This one was, I feel, pretty unanimous. And this one is really something that we've thought about for a while, and is Do you want to see more audience interaction or less? And 75% of you said more. And kind of in the comment responses, a lot of you guys repeated how much that meant to you in this series, and that you thought that was a really special part of this. So we hear you loud and clear. 25% of you guys said you'd kind of like it shorter, recorded version. I hear you. I'll loop back to that later, but for now it's pretty clear that the live version with audience feedback is what's gonna happen. This one, again, pretty unanimous. Do you prefer having the show once or twice a month? Pretty clear that people want it twice a month, which is what I would have expected. I would have been surprised if once a month was a majority of the posts. So that makes sense to me. Is the average length like 2.25 to 2.5 hours per episode? Is that too short, too long, or just right? A lot of people thought it was just right, though a fair amount thought it was too long. Once again, I'll address that one later at the individual comments, but screw it, I'll talk about it now. So I just kind of think like we had a decision to make on this critiques. Like, do we go with a more casual form where like it's more relaxed and takes more time, or do we try and deliver like a more concise, more time rigid version of the critique? And frankly, the shorter version is just so much more effort. We have to do a lot more pre-planning, and this is already a lot of pre-planning, but we have to do even more pre-planning. I have to do more production stuff. If we're recording it for like podcasts, I would also need to edit it. And also just in general, it's not as much fun to do kind of the shorter, concise version. I like keeping it loose and relaxed. And I get that it might be too long for some people that are watching in post, and it's a bit of a bummer, but I guess what I'm saying with that is we can't make everyone happy in that respect. So I'm sorry if that's kind of not where you fall, but we're gonna kind of keep the line of 2.5-ish hours, and we'll go from there. If we feel like it keeps on getting too long, we might do some tweaks, because frankly, like 3 hours for us is probably too long for you, but also too long for us. So we don't really want to do that. So generally speaking, we get it where like 3 hours is like absolutely our max. So we may try and do things to cull things down, but as we keep on adding and improving, it's hard to keep the podcast short and concise. Okay. Right now, 15 photos per episode, so we can get an in-depth critique. Would you like us to keep that, or do more photos with faster critique? Absolutely clear that you guys did not want to see more faster. You wanted to keep things as is. Side note, because we are doing this, I cut this critique to 12 photos this time. So just letting you guys know that I'm replacing 3 photos with our survey response time. Okay. Do you prefer a formal approach to the critique or a more laid back one? Pretty clear that you guys like the laid back atmosphere. This kind of goes off of the same thought on the previous, like kind of whether you liked it a longer, shorter, concise. Yeah, I think we were pretty clear on which way we were gonna go before this critique or this survey happened. But it was just nice to have kind of like confirmation that that you guys like this laid back approach, because frankly, it's just more fun. Like, I like
we're hanging out with y'all.
Yeah,
exactly. We should have snacks.
Just munching on right in front of the microphone.
Like just mic noises of just us eating. Ew.
Yep.
You like this critique?
Critique mukbang.
I don't think so.
I feel like I can't hear you over that loud chewing.
Oh God.
So this one was actually based on how F Stoppers does their critique podcast. But how do you feel about the idea of photos being graded during the critique? It was something I just wanted to bring up with you guys, and like half of you guys thought it sounded like a bad idea, and like only 20% of you guys thought it was a good idea. So it's pretty clear that that's not what you want. So that's fine. Tossing that idea. It was just something kind of that I enjoyed watching in F Stoppers videos, but I think it works for them and it wouldn't work here. So it was just nice to hear you guys kind of voice that. How professional do you think we do this critique? I'm trying really hard to make this well produced. I'm doing my best, guys. It's hard because it's a lot of technical difficulties.
You're doing amazing, sweetie.
Thank you, Jen. Very few of you thought we're doing poorly. Most of you gave us a 4, which I am very happy with, because I think we're probably about a 3 or 4. So yeah, I glad you guys agree. I'm gonna try and keep on improving that, but it's hard. This shit's hard, and OBS
Mallow said she's the red.
Mallow's the red. She's the one person that said 2 stars.
Yeah. She was like, because you talked shit about us during the bathroom break. It's okay, we talk shit about everyone.
Yeah, sure.
We love talking shit about ourselves.
Okay, so now we're going to get on to the individual questions. So let me switch this up here. Okay, so this is... what is your favorite aspect about the series? No, I'm not going to go through every single response here. I'm just going to kind of give you the overall feel that you guys gave me, and highlight a couple. And maybe really dig into just a few responses. You guys really like the interacting with chat. Excuse me. You like the unique perspective that the different guests can bring. You like how we bring a certain respect level for all the models. You enjoy our humor, which is good because it gets a little quirky at times and stupid. You enjoy kind of learning the processes that we and the different guests go through in terms of creating photos. One that I really liked was you enjoy seeing that cosplay photography is being taken seriously, which is awesome because that's kind of, I think, one of the big goals that kind of like underlying themes of this critique series as a whole is like we want cosplay photography to be considered as a serious art. Like we want to critique and get better and yeah. Another response that I really enjoyed was this: when I watch, I feel comfortable at the way the photos are being critiqued, and it gave me the confidence to want to submit a photo, which is incredible. And it makes me just so happy hearing that. I'm happy to see people learning that the critiques aren't like
scary.
Oh, yeah, like I mean,
I've never heard anyone say that.
Little scary, but like I don't know, like we want to make it welcoming. So this is great. Okay, that was some general positive ones. Now let's dig into some other things, which are what are your least favorite aspects about the series? I'll just go over a handful of these and then we can loop back and address them. Some things get missed because there's not a set list of items to cover for each photo. Sometimes critique drag on for particular photos and breeze through others. Comparing someone's submission to a submission that came before. Hosts look visibly distracted / tuned out. I didn't get a chance to call through these, so let's address some of those first. the distracted one, a lot of times it's really that we're just like holding a lot of different plates here. Like me, I've got 3 monitors up, one with OBS, one with the content, one with Twitch chat, and another with Facebook chat. So like, man, it's hard to focus sometimes and keep everything going. And I know, like, when we're looking at our phones, we're usually not like, it's not something like we're ignoring what's going on. It's that we're addressing usually something in regards to the critique or something that we have to respond to. So I would say, you know, if we looked distracted, chances are we actually aren't. I don't think that's a problem we have.
Because I know I can't like talk and like type. So sometimes when I get really quiet, it's because I'm typing in the chat and I can't do both at the same time. Like I'll be typing and I have no idea what Anna said like 30 seconds ago.
Yeah. This is a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One comparing someone's submission to a submission that came before. I think I kind of understand that perspective. But I would just like to kind of bring up the idea that like this photography doesn't exist in a vacuum, and we're not trying to like judge like one photo against another and say like one's better and one's not. But I do want to say that like trying to ignore the photos that came before is pretty impossible, and we do want to bring that perspective because like you're all submitting to the same critique. So like if one person does a link photo and then we have another one of the same exact kind of link, then like yeah, it's going to inherently have us comparing to some extent. So
and it happens in class too. Like I know when I was in school, like someone would be like, oh well, look at how this person who went before me like shaded this. Totally normal to do those kinds of comparisons, especially if it's a good example of something that was done well.
Yeah. Some things get missed because there's not a set list of items covered. We actually have like a this is our critique guidelines. You're not going to be able to read it because it's going to be backwards, but that's our critique guidelines, and often we get thrown off of that chart. And like not every photo we're going to be able to cover everything on because not everything needs to be critiqued in a photo. But yeah, we're going to miss some things, mostly because we're not perfect.
Also, some photos just don't have something.
Yeah, like kind of the same thought of like some photos get breezed through and others don't. Like, man, some photos are hard to talk about. We don't have a lot of things to say about some photos, and it can be difficult. A fair amount of you complained about the length, which is interesting considering the results of the length kind of
I was confused
pie chart,
by that.
which was interesting. And I think it's just maybe a vocal minority on the length. I think there's a fair amount of people that can't catch it live, that would love it to be shorter and recorded. And I totally get that. And I'm sorry that we're just not going to be able to live up to kind of that. The after experience is just not going to be as good as watching it live. And that's a bit of a bummer, but it is what it is. To see if there's any other ones that I want to talk about on this question. One was said, sometimes I feel like the critiques are a bit light and feel more like showcase. I don't know how much prep everyone gets. And the fact of the matter is, we don't get a ton of time to look at the photos before every critique. Like, most of the time, the guest and Sarah are seeing the photos pretty much for the first time, like the day before the critique, because I have the submissions set up to be submitted until like 24 hours before. So just, yeah, we don't have as much time to prepare. And just in general, like, we don't have the time to spend like really contemplating what we're gonna say beforehand. I wish we did. We just don't.
Yeah.
um do um someone said, I wish the photos got about the same amount of time. Same thing as before. Like, just some photos are hard to talk about as much. That's really it. And some inherently have a lot to talk about. And it,
Mm-hmm.
I think if you got your wish there of like all photos having the same amount of time on them, the critique series would be a lot more boring. So I don't think you actually want that.
Yeah.
Okay. Next one. What things would you like to see added to the series? Some of these I think I'm going to try and make happen, and some of these are probably just too much effort for me to be able to do. So I'll kind of say yes or no on all of these. One person said, I wish there was a command that had links to the photographer / cosplayer and social medias that were being featured in the critique. I would love that. That would be amazing. It's not gonna happen. Like if you want to look someone up, I've got like that information tag in the bottom of every photo while it's being critiqued. You can look them up. I don't have time to like set all of that up. It would be amazing if I did. It's
That's
not.
just a lot of extra work that we have to do ahead of time.
Same with someone asked. Show notes would be awesome. I agree. Show notes would be great. I'm not spending the time to make those happen. Like a lot of these are just like, man, if we had like some sort of like production staff to make these happen, that would be awesome. But like almost all of this is just me, and lots of like the like form of the like I don't have all the photos usually until 24 hours beforehand, and like today I don't get home till like 4 o'clock. So I've got like a couple hours to finish up the setup of things. So like the fact of the matter is it just doesn't work like that. The time doesn't exist to make that happen. Getting the submitters permission to upload those photos so that you guys can see them in high quality. That is something I am absolutely planning on adding. I would expect to see that not for the next critique, but maybe in the next couple. I'm gonna figure out how to add that in. So yeah, look forward to that. That'll be a new addition sometime soon. Someone said choosing they would appreciate it if we could spend like one thing that we could talk about to teach for every episode. Which I think is really cool and something that would be fun to do. I just don't know how we could do that yet. So that's something that I'm mulling over. I just don't know how that would fit in yet. But I will store that idea for later, and hopefully we can make that happen. Sarah just is going nuts in chat here.
It's Mallow's fault. She's had 2 glasses of wine. She's in deep.
Oh man. One person said they would like to see more diversity in styles for the photographers that are in the critiques as guests, and that's something we're working on. We'd like to bring more people in with more styles, and to be totally honest, we've reached out to people that have very different styles than us, and they just have not been able to join us, or some that we're just can't have on for other reasons. So it makes it hard because like some of the people that you would like to have on for that just aren't available. But we're gonna feel free to keep on making suggestions to us, and hopefully you'll feel like we have a wide diversity of photographers in the future. I mean, honestly, we're trying to bring on people that like we really respect and enjoy their work. So it's gonna be skewed to what we like, and I'm trying to branch out of that, but a little bit, but that's just the basis of it. Because like, of course, we want to bring on photographers that are competent, and usually the ones that we feel that are competent are ones that we really enjoy their work. So Shrugs.
Honestly, a lot of them just don't have webcams. That's literally been the reason why a lot of them we can't have them.
Yeah, that's happened multiple times where we've reached out to people and they're just like, yeah, I'd love to, but I don't have webcam. Don't have my.
So that makes it super awkward and not
and we're
doable.
Just like, well, let us know in the future if you do obtain these things, and we'd love to have you on. One thing that could be neat is someone suggests that we do kind of like a feature of the week, or like something that inspires us every time. That could be cool. I'll store that into something to do. Something that Sarah did, unbeknownst, is that was suggested, is asking the guests for like one piece of advice that they would give. And Sarah, you snuck that in there. I don't know if you got that from the critique or the survey, or if you just were like, hey, I'm gonna do this, but
that's just no. I didn't know. I like to think I was that smart.
Another one is themed streams, which I think could be really cool in the future.
That could be fun.
Yeah, I don't know when we're gonna do those. Maybe like if we did like a like some sort of like Christmas / like winter theme critiques, where like all the photos submitted were winter or Christmas themed, maybe something like that. Someone suggested a Zelda theme, and then Mallow also is suggesting a Mallow theme because of course she is. So I don't know exactly how that'll manifest, but yeah, it'll something.
I like the Zelda theme. I think we should do that.
We'll probably do that at some point. Just
dogs in costumes.
I don't know if we'll get enough submissions, but Sarah's just like, I only need. No, not
Saber only.
Flash court. It's not gonna be derp photos on April Fools. What do you think with this stream? What do you think would be a great April Fools one? Let's just contemplate that for a hot second. I'll give you guys
Patreon content.
No.
Polaroids only.
No.
Andrew only.
Yeah, well, maybe Andrew only.
I don't know.
In different cosplays.
Yes.
By different people.
Dutch angles only. Come on, guys.
That's no joke, though. That's real life.
Last suggestion of something that someone would want to see is the EXIF data of the cameras. It would be awesome if I could include that. I just don't know how I'm going to do that yet, especially because like I'm leery of like I would love to be able to have it and then tell you guys maybe, versus like showing it on screen, because showing it on screen would be a ton of extra work for me. So I think maybe if I just had it where I had it during the submission, you could enter in that information and I could say it. So that's something I'll probably add, just not as an on-screen thing. Something I did want to say is just because in terms of photographer style, just because there's styles that we don't particularly do doesn't mean we aren't qualified to talk about it. I was thinking about this earlier, and like Sarah, you and I don't really do composites, but we're both graphic designers, and I know we both have done like composite work, probably maybe not even for cosplay, but like we've done composite work as graphic designers. At least I know I have a fair amount. And
like even if I hadn't like done it before in design school, like I still feel like I personally have like a strong sense of like what makes a good composite. So like I mean, it's like I have a strong, like I can't draw at all, but like I can tell the difference between like a well-considered illustration versus one that's not.
Yeah.
So it's like, even though I can't do it, it doesn't.
Yeah. I just wanted to put that out there for people to say that like, hey, just because it's not like our area of expertise and you see it in our photos a lot, it doesn't mean that we can't talk about it with a level of expertise.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Let's see. What things would you like to see improved about the series? I'm gonna skim over this one. Someone said more diversity. Um, Someone said that they would like to see how guests suggest how that they would have set up a shot done differently, and I think we kind of do that, but I honestly try to steer away from that because I don't want to feel like we're saying like this
This
is
is the right
bad
way.
and this is the right
Yeah.
way to edit. Yeah, so that's why I'm leery of doing it that way. Uh, Someone would like to see it where we don't have like for landscape photos are like the webcam windows overlapping the photos, and I try to show them for a little bit without that as full screen, but hopefully that'll be fixed as soon as I have like the ability for you guys to see the full resolution files. um uh, so Set a time limit for each photo. Once again, I don't think that's something that you guys actually want us to do. Unless we start getting really long, then maybe we'll start doing that. But for now, no. Someone suggested switch up the order instead of it being alphabetical. I get why you want that, but come on. Like, alphabetical is done purely just to make my life easy.
Mm-hmm.
Don't make it harder for me. We're sticking with alphabetical. It makes my life easy. Thanks, guys.
There's
Thanks
a
for
lot of
understanding.
pre-production that goes into these like seemingly easy critiques. So
Yeah.
anything to streamline our life or more like
Yeah.
Andrew's life, that's all I can say.
A couple people said that they'd like the audio quality improved, especially on Sarah's end. We're working on it. We know.
We're
If anyone has suggestions on how to get better audio quality on Discord, or maybe if there's a better option for like video chatting and audio quality, please let me know because I'd love to improve it. But
help us.
Yeah, but yeah, it's something we know about, and we're working to improve it. So you guys want to know something funny? So you know how you guys were generous and donated towards Sarah's new mic, and apparently she forgot to reactivate it in Discord for the last couple of times. So
I didn't realize every time I quit Discord it resets, which makes sense because there's no save button in settings, so it makes sense now. But hopefully it sounds a little better.
I would love to get SM7Bs for everyone, but that is way, way beyond the budget of this show.
You don't want to donate.
Yeah. Yeah. No. The talk is about getting Sarah a stand so she can have the microphone close to her mouth, so that it'll sound even better. But we're working on it. ASMR. We're gonna do the ASMR photo critique
this the entire time.
And it's gonna really feel like you're here with us.
This is really creepy.
Okay, let's not. But point being is audio. We know about the audio. We're working on it. This one amused me. One person said that I really wish there was you guys did more advertising because I wish more people knew about you, and it's hard because I feel like the only way more people know about this is if I tell them. And I'm like, man, I really wish there was a better way too. We're trying, damn it. Just social media sucks these days, and honestly, the biggest way to expand this is for
y'all have to share us too.
Like, man,
yeah.
If you like what we're doing, please consider sharing us or telling some friends about it. It goes a long way. Okay. And anything else you'd like to tell us? There was a lot of positive things here, and it just really makes me feel fulfilled that you guys are enjoying this, and really think it's a positive thing, because it's a ton of work. Like it's crazy. Like, some of you guys like lovely way to bring light to the cosplay photography community. It's helpful and enjoyable. And just all these really positive comments, and like it just makes me feel really, really pleased that you guys think that what we're doing is valuable, because the only reason why we do it is because we think it's valuable. But knowing that you guys think it's valuable is I mean, it's what I want when we're doing this. Like, if you guys didn't think it was valuable, then I'd be like, shit, well, time to hang it up. But knowing that you guys do think it's valuable is incredibly important, and makes me just feel just so happy. On that note, though, I wanted to say, like, it is a surprising amount of effort to make these happen, and the amount of like production time it takes per episode, like beforehand, is like way more than you'd think it would be. Like, I feel like these come across like they're pretty simple, and that's honestly just like me putting in the effort to make them feel like they're simple. So genuinely, and I'm not about to like beg for donations, but if you enjoy this show, like, consider donating. It doesn't need to be now. It doesn't need to be ever. But if you enjoy it, I'd really appreciate it if you considered donating, because like we put the money back towards making this better. Like, we want to get Sarah a better mic, or get her a mic stand so that she can get and work on her audio, and just the amount of effort it helps us kind of feel like, it's really nice to hear that you guys are enjoying it. But like, if you do and you can throw a couple dollars at us, that's just like above and beyond, and is greatly appreciated with the amount of time we're putting in. Once again, not trying to tell anyone that they need to donate or they should donate, but just that it's greatly appreciated. Also, if you have Twitch Prime and you're not thanks for the bits, Areshki. If you have Twitch Prime and you're not subbing to anyone, if you have Amazon Prime and you don't know about Twitch Prime, you get 1 free sub per month. And if you're not using anything with that, please consider connecting your Amazon Prime to your Twitch, and then giving me a Twitch Prime sub. Thanks, YGK, for that Twitch Prime sub. And then NetJack, you guys, I appreciate it. You now get your awesome Dutch angle emote too. And once again, your support is incredible, and I hope we can keep going for a long time and keep on improving. Your feedback was incredibly valuable, and I love you guys. And thanks for letting us have this platform.
Yay!
And I hope you guys continue to watch. And with that long-winded thing, we're
2 hours later. We're finally gonna
we're through the survey. Sorry that took longer than I wanted it to, but that's not exactly
Are we surprised?
shocker.
No.
I thought that was going to take a little while. So thank you, Jin, for sitting through that, because that was
Seriously.
I legitimately thought about doing the survey feedback as its own stream, but I figured no one would watch that, so I snuck it in here. So okay, let's what do we do on this? Do we do critiques? I think we do critiques.
I'm so distracted by Mallow right now. She's so funny.
Mallow, cool your jets, Mallow. Okay, we do critiques of photos on this stream. I don't know if you guys knew that. So let's do some critiques. So let's jump into this first photo. This one's from Flashcard Photo. Sarah, why don't you jump into things here?
Okay.
When Mallow's not distracting you.
I know. No, I got it up. I got some Tubi up on the screen. So the first thing that really caught my eye with this image is how I feel like it came like right out of the game. Like, I really like how they went with like the color grading from like the game's aesthetic, like those like more muted tones, and it feels like a little grungy. I really appreciate it when photographers edit photos in the style of like the thing that it came from, and I think this is a really good example of that. I think the lighting is also really nice. It has like a very like soft, natural look to it, which I think is also kind of different because I feel like a lot of Nier photos that I see, they're very like harshly lit, just to kind of give like that like raw emotion edge to it. But I like how this one feels a little more soft and a little more timid, which I don't think we're used to seeing with like pictures of 2B, because she's like always kicking ass and stuff. So yeah, those are my initial thoughts.
Before I get into anything else, holy fuck, Atelier or Heidi with all those gift
Yeah,
subs.
what is this?
Yeah, blowing my mind there, Heidi. Incredibly appreciated. Thanks for all the gift subs to Cosmonaut Cosplay, Spaz by Design, Vintage Aerith. Did I nail that one?
Yep.
Arlie and
Nailed it.
Nirikos. It's that's awesome. Thank you so much for that. Okay, back to critiquing. Okay, I agree. I love the feel of this shot and how it kind of works well with the feel of the game. It's you know, got that kind of bright grungy feel
Mm-hmm.
to it. It's awesome. I really like the overall mood of it. It's kind of interesting because normally I don't think I'm a huge fan of kind of these abstracted backgrounds for cosplay photos, but just kind of the grunge works really well with the feel of Nier. So I think it works really well with this shot.
Agreed.
Yeah, agreed. I immediately thought of the illustrated game cover on seeing the photo treatment, so that was really cool.
Yeah, no, it's God, Rushki, thank you for the sub and the gift sub to Behind Infinity.
Aw.
um, it's I think the lighting is really what works for me. It's kind of this bright and airy lighting that is what makes kind of that white background work, and which is fairly well done because that like often like crushed velvet of 2B's outfit can just like suck up light.
Yeah. It's kind of amazing how much detail you can see in the costume, because I know like when I've photographed 2Bs before, it is so hard to not make it look like really flat and gross. So I think they utilized the light really well in this photo for sure.
I have a question for the chat. Like, when does 2B take off the blindfold? Because I could not get through the bullet hell parts of Nier.
There's certain points that happen where she's not wearing the blindfold.
It's like, isn't it kind of spoiler?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Spoiler-ish, but I will just say there are points where she is not wearing a blindfold. The things that I don't get is when I see 2B where she's just like wearing the leotard without the skirt. That feels weird because as far as I know, that never happens in the game. So
it doesn't. I don't think.
It's fan service,
yeah,
Andrew.
I played it all the endings, and I didn't see that, so I don't fucking know. One thing that does get me that probably wouldn't bother me as much if there was a blindfold on is
the wig hair.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The wig hair going right in front of her eye, and that kind of that one section coming out there that wouldn't read as poorly perhaps if it were the blindfold on instead.
This kind of really gives you a sense of how different photos can feel when there's eye contact.
Oh, yeah. Like, I feel like she's, like, piercing my soul with her eyes.
But yeah, at the same time, you really have to be careful with the area around the eyes, because that's where the viewers are going to be drawn to. And I kind of can't stop looking at that one bit of wig hair.
I just wish you could just like push it out.
Yeah, it's always that like I just want to. I mean, I know all about hair getting in my eyes, so I
clearly
I really Let's see.
Mallow's asking if this is composited. There was definitely some kind of texture put on the background.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's why it looks like that marble look.
He said that it was actually originally a skyline of Boston.
What?
Oh wow!
So
really?
kind of ran with the trees that we're showing for the rest of it. So yeah, it's
That is a
definitely
clean edit.
very different from what the original.
Wow. That's crazy. I can't like picture that at all, actually.
Mhm.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Damn, dude.
The lighting in the background works so well together. I would never
Right?
have guessed.
No, I thought she was shot against the wall. Like, no joke.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
crazy.
The one thing I would say is I do like the lifted blacks to some extent, but at the same time I would maybe like to see them just a bit darker. They're a bit raised for my liking. It's not terrible by any means. This is being real nitpicky, but I would have liked to see them just a bit darker.
Just a smidge. There's like some contrast lost a little bit.
How do you guys feel on the pose?
It feels a little lax to me.
Yeah, I don't dislike it, but I kind of wish that maybe like she had her hip kicked out to the side a little bit more.
A little more
Body's
sass or something.
pretty straight up and down.
Yeah, I agree.
And just a little more tension here, I guess, would have been, you know.
I think the reason why the pose, even though it's pretty relaxed, works is because her stare feels so strong.
Yeah.
If that part didn't exist, I don't think the pose would work nearly as well.
Yeah, I think if the blindfold was on, I would think she looks like she was just standing there, like waiting for the photographer to take a picture. But I don't know, a little more sass. But also, I feel like that's what I'm used to seeing with Tubi, so I don't even know if that's like completely accurate.
Yeah, I don't know. She's pretty. I don't want to say emotionless, but
I mean, they're robots.
well, I mean that's. I feel like there's a. I don't want to get into this. There's too much plot involved in that talk. Okay. You guys got any other things to say on this one before we move on to the next one?
No.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm good.
So let's move on to the next shot. This one is from Rawson Photography. Jin, why don't you lead us off on this shot?
Hold on, here we go. So like I think the colors are really powerful just from the thumbnail. It's the kind of thing that'll draw you in and like want to see what's in there. And I like how even though there are these like mood like poly gels that were put for the blue and the red, there's still a bit of spotlight on the cosplayer to show which character she is. I appreciate the attempt at like a dynamic, moment, but I feel like because when I look at cosplay photos, especially one that's standalone like this, I kind of want to see, the details of the costume, and a lot of it here is covered up by the knee and the one sleeve. So I kind of wish that maybe the pose or the angle was a little bit different.
I think she could have rotated her upper body a little more towards the camera. Because you also are you're totally losing her right arm too. I wish that was sticking out a little. Like literally, if she just like like just turned like a tiny bit, we could have seen a little more of the top, and also she had kind of like lifted off of the ground a little bit more too. Because I agree, it's mostly just kind of like arm and leg, which is a little odd.
So I really like the overall composition of this photo. I like the way that the like ball and chain kind of link the composition. You have this foreground element that draws, you follow the line that leads you into the cosplayer, and her hand is pointing back towards the ball. It kind of creates like a really nice triangle in this image. The composition is on point, and I really, really like it.
Agreed.
That said, like in terms of like understanding the action of the photo, her pose feels really confusing to me, because like to me, I feel like she just smashed the ball in chain. Like it feel like, especially with kind of like the almost motion blur feel of it, I feel like the ball has just landed, but yet her arm is back. Like if she had smashed it, her arm would have been forward, but her arm is back. So so maybe if the ball had been like lifted up and feeling like she was whipping it backwards, it would make sense.
Yeah.
But
Yeah,
like
not
just
hitting
kind
the
of my
ground.
mind is having a hard time processing the pose with the action.
That's true. Unless it was just that 1 second before she pulls back with the stick. But,
Oh, I see what you're saying.
So my thought was that she just smashed, but was starting to pull the chain back. I think that's that makes a lot more sense. But I think having the ball like not removed from the ground kind of makes that a little hard to read. Now, I admit that's a way harder shot to do, with where you have the ball off the ground versus on. So I'm asking for a much more technically difficult shot, but yeah. So
also, with the composite, I guess it kind of would have helped to have some floating debris, I guess, depending on the timing that was intended for the shot. Like if it had just smashed, there would be stuff flying up.
Yeah, more than just dust, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I also do like the colors of this image, though. I feel like we haven't really addressed that, but it's a really nice aspect of the shot.
I think it's a really nice use of those gels, for real.
Yeah. I do. Guys, this is a Dutch angle. I think it's a Dutch angle. Is it a Dutch angle?
I mean, I can see that horizon line completely tilted.
Yeah,
so I mean,
I didn't know, because I think the back is actually like a bit of like a curved plane. Like it's on a flat wall. It's a curved plane.
Yeah.
So that was made it hard, but I need to call out for Dutch angle.
Oh my god.
I do feel
no
like
more.
I've got 13 subscribers now, so I better see that emote in the chat. Not just to read. So yeah, I would say I'm not a big fan of that kind of tilt, because it's like it doesn't feel like an intentional Dutch angle. It feels like
It's
the
like an
camera's
almost
just a
tilt.
little tilted. Like I like it's enough that I just want the camera straightened. Like
Yeah, same.
Yeah.
And honestly, you could make it read less like a Dutch angle even if you just
chopped out that line.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because that's what really gives it away for me.
Absolutely.
Same. I was about to say the same thing.
And I just straightened it on my end. I feel like it's such a subtle angle that you really don't lose much of the shot when straightening it anyways. You lose, like, if anything, it pulls the action in a little tighter. So I would not be afraid to go and fix that angle.
And also, even if you didn't want to crop in, it would be pretty easy to extend the canvas, just kind of based on like the environment that they were working with. I don't think it would be too bad to like extend like the the background on the floor. If you really wanted to be extra, because I've done that before.
I wouldn't mind a crop though, so that we could get a closer look at her face, and also there's like less of the compositing to judge coming from someone who does composites. That's what I do, crop it as much as I can so that there's less to sort of take away from what's real in the image.
Yeah, it does look nice crop now that I'm doing it. Yeah.
Other thought, the red that you have in this image, I don't dislike it, but it is a bit on the pinker side.
Oh, true.
I would maybe just take that into a deeper red. Just take a little bit of the pink tones out of it. Grab a hue and saturation adjustment layer and just give that a little teeny shift towards the reds, and I think that would work a little bit better.
Yeah, that would look nice.
And maybe even darken the color of those reds too.
Ooh. Yeah, I think that would look nice. Like really exaggerate it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be sick.
Yeah, because like now that I'm thinking about it, I think the foreground of this image is too bright.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, just darken that a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
I think this, like, now that I've been playing around with this image a little bit in Photoshop, as I've been critiquing, and I'm just like, ooh, I'm liking this even more. This could look really good. So I'd give it a try. I'd play around with this one a bit more. I think you have like an even better shot hiding in this shot. So don't feel scared to play around with it more.
Yeah, I mean it's already a great shot.
Yeah, it's already a really solid shot. I'll just screen share. Hopefully they don't mind that I screen shared like my incredibly quick edits, but whoops. This is kind of where I was sitting at with this shot and deepening those reds and darkening that area a little bit, and I think it looks really. Sorry if you don't like.
I can finally see this. Oh yeah.
Sorry if you don't like that I did those edits. I'm sorry. All right.
Sick, bro.
All right. You guys got any other thoughts on this one, or should we move on to the next shot?
I think we'll move on to the next one.
It.
Yeah.
Mallow is the sassiest tonight.
I love Mal in the chat. Makes my life. Just makes my night. Oh god.
Oh goodness. Okay.
Too funny.
Let's move on to this next shot. This one is by Devin Marie Johnson Photography. And like my first thought is like, oh hell yes, this like deep red color along all that white. Oh hell yes, I'm all about this look.
Dude, same. This one really stood out to me when I got the folder of images. I was like, shit, this is my jam. Anyway.
Yeah, no, I really dig this. Like, I feel like everything about this image just speaks to like have it pop off. Like it immediately draws your eye in. Like the lighting, how it's rendering her, it's got that real like a real strong dimensionality to the lighting.
Is this flash?
I don't know.
I kind of want to.
It kind of has that look, but it also is like a big enough soft light that it could be open shade as well. So I could see it either way. Let me see if I can figure it out from details. It was taken at f2 1/400th of a second. So I'm going to take a guess that it was not flashed.
Yep. Not with that.
Just a really clean light.
Yeah, like that is so ideal.
I think the environment was also kind of acting like a reflector because it's so pale.
So it's so pale.
Yeah. Yeah. I think you can even almost tell with like her shadow, like it doesn't drop off very far. Like
it's true.
With that said, my biggest problem with this shot is kind of the composition. And what I mean by that is just kind of her placement in the photo. She's has her body pointing to the right of the frame, and she isn't even centered. She is like slightly skewed to the right of the frame, and it just gives kind of the photo this odd like right heavy weight to it. I'm just like screaming at the photo to have her moved to the like left third of this image. Like, it feels so natural with how the pillars are falling off to have her right in front of where the furthest pillars are. Like,
Oh, I see.
I want that so badly for this image. So yeah, just kind of like the pose. My rule of thumb, unless you have a reason to break it, if you have someone facing to the right of an image, like especially like this strong, I want to have them on the left third, and vice versa. It just kind of helps balance out the composition. So that would be my strongest thought on it.
I think the one thing that's kind of distracting me is that gray rectangle
Yes.
upper left.
Yep.
I
I was
wanna
gonna get that.
content
I knew we were gonna head to
aware
that
heel.
nitpick town.
Nitpick
Especially
town.
because she's like looking towards it.
Yeah,
and
you go
draws
right
her-
to it.
Yeah.
Nitpick town, USA.
I think it bothers me so much because like it's one of those retouches that would
Take 2 seconds.
take so like little time to get to remove.
One stroke of content aware heel.
Yeah, like
Yeah. This is another one where the pose kind of bothers me a little bit.
So yes. Go ahead. I have thoughts on this, but I want you to say what you think first.
Well, the first one, it's going to be easy for me to articulate. I wish we could see her left arm, like we totally lose it.
So speaking of totally losing your arm, I'm pretty sure this is Cinder after she's lost her arm in Ruby.
Does she lose her arm?
That's why I'm kind of like...
Oh.
Then I kind of wish that was more part of the storytelling of the photo.
Yeah,
Well, then, like, maybe
I
seeing
still-
her shoulder,
Yeah.
like... Okay, wait, I'm looking at this.
Because
Okay,
that's
even
why
if- okay,
you
well,
think
even if
you can
she
see her
lost-
sleeve draped down, I think that's partly...
Yeah. Right, so yeah, because the design still has the sleeve. She just physically doesn't have her arm. Okay, wait, I need to go back.
I agree with you though. That I
Yeah.
want her shoulder forward a little bit, but
Yeah.
but that's specifically like my first thought with the pose was like, I wish I could see more of her arm, but wait, lol.
Well, she doesn't have it. But the part of her clothing like kind of looks like she has an arm. Like there is something there. Like it's not like she lost like her shoulder. So I think just rotating that, kind of like what I said in the previous image, just kind of towards the camera. I think that's a really good tip to tell your cosplayers, and just something to keep in the back of your mind, because I feel like that is something I'm constantly telling my models to do when I'm shooting, is just to like rotate their upper body towards the camera more. And the other one is like I can't really describe this like super well. My first reaction when I saw this image was like, damn, how does someone arch their back that much? Like I hurt just looking at it. But also I feel like and I think actually maybe just rotating her body would solve this, but it's like the top half of her body is like so fluid, like it's like a perfect like S curve, but then her legs are so stiff.
I see what you mean.
Yeah, I'm not. It looks uncomfortable to me. Especially like, now that I notice her left foot actually is not fully flat on the ground either. So it's making me think she had to like maneuver in a certain way to get this pose. I don't know. It just looks uncomfortable to me. Only because I've had to do poses like this and it's not fun. But
Yeah, I do. It's hard because like overall, I still actually really like the pose. Like the arch in
I
her
mean, I do
back looks
too.
so good. The way her hand is
Yeah.
out looks so good.
Yeah.
So there's just like some like it's like half a great pose, half a like bad pose.
Mm-hmm.
Like so it just meets in the middle there. So, yeah. I still think like this is probably one of the like most like striking first like looks of a shot. Like I've got like this one of the strongest first impressions off of this photo than I have like maybe I don't want to say any other photo we've had in this critique, but it just the white the red on white, that deep red is just so impactful that I still really like this image.
Like, I think this is a photo. If I saw it in a magazine, I would stop like turning the pages. Honestly, it's so striking.
Oh, something I did want to say too is I really, really, and I'm a sucker for it, is the pillar that's in the foreground.
Mm-hmm.
That, like, without that,
Wouldn't be as strong, I don't think.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Kind of
God,
frames
I feel
her.
like timed it just right. Mellow, I think, made about the same comment. But I really love foreground elements in shots. To me it places your subject in like a 3D space instead of just having like a blurred out background and them on like a flat plane in front of the back, that blurred out background. This places them in that space.
Yeah.
I think in terms of like the photo altogether, I think something I really appreciate with it is how the background is feels so like white and like kind of almost this like creamy white, but like it didn't do that at like with the side effect of like desaturating the background. There's still colors in there. Like it's not a pure white, and I think if it was a pure white it'd feel way more boring of a photo. I think the fact that it does have those like very
Off-white
minor color tone variations really helps it have more life to it.
Yeah.
And how straight the lines are in the crop. Very satisfying.
Straight lines.
Love us
me some straight lines.
some straight lines. Oh my god, Mallow, no.
You need to stop giving her attention. It's only encouraging things.
I know. It's fine.
You guys got any final thoughts on this shot before we move on to the next one?
It's beautiful.
Before we go on to the next one, I want to give a quick thank you to Snoozy Sloth and Diegus for the donations. Huge thanks. Greatly.
Wait, did you say Snoozy Sloth? Really?
Yeah.
That's my friend Crystal.
Well,
what?
Thanks, Crystal. I appreciate it. Okay, let's move on to this next shot. This next one is from Alcazone.
So distracted.
I hope I didn't butcher that name.
Yeah, I have no. Yeah, I don't know.
Sarah, you're up.
I love me some Hoseki. First of all, this is a freaking brave shot to attempt. Like, whenever someone tries to like composite all the shit that goes on in Hoseki, I'm always like super impressed. Like, this is so bold, and I almost feel bad like critiquing it because like, you know, I don't do a lot of composites. But anyway, I really like, so a lot of Hoseki photos I feel like are always very much focused on like the beauty component of the characters, but I like how this one is like capturing the moment, like a battle sequence from the series, because the battle sequences in the series are actually pretty cool, but I don't see a lot of like action shots being taken or trying to be portrayed through cosplay photography. This is just in general, this is like a fresh of breath air.
Fresh of breath air.
A fresh of breath air.
Mhm.
Sorry.
Nailing it.
Nailing it. I do feel like the composite components are like not quite there yet. Especially like the gold. I think that's the one that really gets it for me. Like liquid, like metal has it's opaque. Like there's no point that it's going to be translucent in any kind of way.
Looks like apple juice.
Stop. No. Yeah, I don't know. That's really hard. It's like when people try to composite like what's her name? I can't think of her name. Cinnabar. Like that's just a really hard thing to
think
do.
Of her name is Cinnabon.
Cinnabon. Yeah, I don't know. I'm not really sure what they use for the gold, but I would have tried to find.
I've got a theory on that.
What?
And that theory is that the blend mode was maybe set to like a screen or something. Because if you look at it, it looks like the areas that are translucent are the areas where the highlights would be.
Mm-hmm.
So I wonder if that was like cut out and set as to a screen blend mode to have it blend, because yeah, you're getting those transparencies where I think it should maybe be white.
Yeah. I'm willing to bet it was one of those like stock images of water with a black background and then set to like screen.
Yeah, that's
but it really needed that opaque layer to make it look like liquid gold in this case, especially with this lighting.
It's interesting because I think at first glance this photo works really well with it, but then you start looking at the gold and it's just like
yeah. The other thing I wanted to mention about the composite is the rose petals. Like they're a real thing that's a real thing that happens when like the moon people come, but I feel like right now the colors don't match at all.
Yeah.
You have like these muted
same thing.
Yeah, you have like these muted colors, but then you have these like bright
really
magenta flower petals, which by the way, I'm pretty sure I've used the same flower texture before, so yeah, so just muting it so it just matches the overall color palette. Because right now they stick out too much.
I kind of wish we could also see like the colorful aesthetic of Hoseki, like with the sky being more blue and the grass being more green. It would also kind of make the gold parts stand out better, I guess. And can we address the lens flare?
Oh yes, I was going to.
Like,
I was waiting for Andrew to bring that up.
Yeah, you talk about it, Andrew.
Okay, I am not 100% sure that this is a Photoshop lens flare. So I don't say that with like absolute confidence, but I am a firm believer that you just don't use lens flares like this ever.
Yeah.
I'm okay. So here's what I want to say. I am okay with the idea that the sun is creating flare. I am not okay with all the like lens elements that are coming through, because it doesn't look like a real lens flare. I would rather you take a brush and just make one big glow where the flare is coming from, instead of trying to create a realistic lens flare.
Basically,
go ahead. Go ahead, Sarah.
I was like, basically, Photoshop, the way it renders lens flares, it's terrible. Just don't use it.
Exactly.
I'm not even absolutely sure that this is a Photoshop lens flare. It kind of looks like it, but at the same time, I'm not 100% sure on that.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it could be.
I feel like the Photoshop ones are so sharp.
Flare. Yeah.
That's true.
So It is very sharp too.
Yeah, lens flares in real life, it doesn't matter how good your camera is, you're not gonna get like sharp, crisp circles in real life.
Yeah.
And
In
also,
general, I think if you don't, unless you really understand lens flares, don't use them.
Yeah.
I would not. Also the depth of field, I guess, because it's inconsistent with how, the composite is. Like, I wish it could have been slightly blurred, I suppose. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it's interesting. I think you could have gotten a better looking flare without using a lens flare.
Agreed.
Also, I don't think the light that like what the light is telling me in this composite is that there is a strong sun coming from like behind where the moon people or whatever the fuck they are coming from. But if you look at the rest of the scene, it looks fairly overcast. Like
Yeah, it
the
does.
sky, the clouds have an overcast look to it. The landscape, nothing about it screams hard light. Like the only thing to me that feels like anything remotely like hard light is the strong reflection that's on the arm. But otherwise everything else looks like a kind of overcast light. So having that strong light come from behind there kind of feels at odds. I don't know how you do this necessarily better with this image because I feel like if you remove the flare it doesn't feel right. Or if you remove the glow, I should say, it doesn't feel right. But it just isn't going to match up with the image probably very well just because it is overcast.
It is a tough, like, raw shot to attempt this kind of composite.
Yeah. It was a big undertaking.
Yeah, the hardest part with compositing to me is getting the light to match up right.
That's why I just don't do it.
I don't do
So
it because they
bad.
take too much time, and I already take too much time on my photos as is. I don't need to spend more time on a photo. Lord knows.
Yeah, you're right.
I think this is a solid attempt, though. I really appreciate the effort that was put into this. You guys got any more thoughts on this one before we move on to the next shot?
No.
We're good.
Okay.
Brave soul.
Yep.
Okay, this next one
Solid
is
effort.
from Eugene's art. Jin, do you want to lead us off here?
I love this.
This one's a
It's
good one.
it's almost too good that people are gonna scroll by thinking that it's not a cosplay, that kind of thing.
It looks like it's from the new Spider-Man game.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
Like, the colors are so good. Of course, the red and blue, like, really strong against what would have been like a busy background that was kind of subdued, like, tastefully, and it has the orange and teal cinematic kind of treatment, like, subtly, but it's there, and it's a nice contrast rather than having those neutrals be more gray, I guess.
I really, really dig the composition of this photo. It's maybe not perfect. There's some small things that I'd maybe change with it, but it's pretty darn close. The fact that you have Spooderman having all these converging lines coming towards him, I would have tried to shift him a little bit more towards the opening of the alley, or the essentially the white space behind him, I would want to have him be in the center of a little bit more than he is. That said, it still works really well with all the angles converging on him, and honestly him being against the white background, so he pops even more. I don't know if this feels like a flashed or a reflected shot to me. I don't know for sure. Let's see.
It has to be. There's no way.
It's probably if it has to be reflected or high speed sync, because it was f 2.8 1 1/250th of a second, so it was pretty fast. It says it was. It did say it was. Actually, it says flash compulsory on it, so it probably was using high speed sync. So there we have it.
There we go.
So, yeah, it was flashed. It definitely has that extra pop. Like, I don't think you get this extra pop in the image without that. I still think you could do it with a reflector as well, instead of like having to bring a flash, but a flash probably with high speed sync probably makes it easier. Rush brings up. Go ahead.
Yeah, pose is excellent. Well, I was also going to talk about how like the Dutch angle in this doesn't bother me.
Damn straight.
Yeah, so this is another example of like,
say damn crooked.
I'm done. Goodbye.
Just leave.
Just gonna leave. Yeah, so this is like another example of like Dutch angle working like really well, and I think it does have something to do with like all of those converging lines going to the cosplayer. It just creates so much motion in this, and I dig it so much.
So what do you guys think about the idea of giving this guy a 16:9 crop?
I really want to see it.
I would want to see that.
I did it in Photoshop, and I really liked
sick?
it. I really like
Oh
it.
shit! Screen share that shit.
Here, Let's see, I'll do this. It's probably gonna be cut off a little bit, but I really like how this looks as a 16:9. I think it only improves the frame of this image. It was already really good.
Oh shit!
And now it's even really gooder.
Oh, nice.
That is a promo image.
Yeah,
Dude, for real though.
Because like the top of this shot, I don't think is necessarily doing all that much for the shot. It's not necessarily bad. Like, I don't feel like this is a bad 16:9 even slight, or non 16:9 even slightly, but like this looks good. And I know I'm biased because I'm a sucker for 16:9, but oh shit, that looks as like
no, we love our cinematic crops.
Yes. Actually having more space up there makes you feel like he's closer to the ground. So having that crop kind of sells the illusion more that he's
higher up,
swinging around in a high place.
I agree.
I don't have too much negatives to say about this shot. Like, I think really like so I think this is a weird hold up on my part. I don't like seeing the car in the background, but shit,
I don't either.
It makes sense for Spider-Man. I just think I've like almost like am triggered by it because I've seen so many cars in the background of like bad cosplay photos that
I feel you.
That like
you feel like
seeing
it
the
shouldn't
car,
be there.
but that I feel like it shouldn't. But like in Spider-Man, it makes sense. Like, of course, there's gonna be a car in the city. Like
when you're in fucking New York, so
yeah. So
Yeah.
I don't actually think that's a problem with the shot. More just a problem with me.
No, I feel
and
you.
all of us, because apparently I'm not the only one that feels this way. Yeah. So.
People in the chat are saying it would feel super fake without cars.
Yeah, I don't
And
know if
that
I
it
agree
needs
with
more
that.
cars.
I think it would feel fine without cars. I just don't necessarily
Mm.
think it would hurt.
I think if just that one car that's facing us wasn't there, like in the
Yeah.
one that's like behind it was there, I'd be okay with that. But I think
Yeah.
I think because like that car is so close to his foot, which I'm looking at, and then I see the car and I'm like, fuck, now I'm distracted by this dumb foot. I mean the car.
Catching light
Yeah.
and stealing attention.
Thanks, car.
That's true too. If there were more and not just like one that's screaming in the background, it would also be good.
Yeah, YGK's thought on the more cars is legit.
Yeah.
Okay. Guys, I had any other thoughts on this one?
Nope.
Okay, let's move on to the next shot. This one is from Heidi. Heidi, did you finish your dinner yet? Heidi, we're on your photo. I hope you've got your volume up and you like hear me yelling at you that you're like eating food in another room. Okay, I'm leading this off. Okay, so I'm a sucker for Spice and Wolf, so like, oh yeah, she made it back. Hell yeah.
She's back. Time to roast it.
Hell yeah.
So like I just said, I'm a sucker for Spice and Wolf, so like
Perfect.
already a huge fan. The vibe of this photo is really nice. It's old-fashioned-y, but like nondescript enough that it feels like it could work in the Spice and Wolf Spice and Wolf world. That's a kind of a tongue twister. That's fairly hard. I feel like generally speaking, you don't see too many shots that aren't like naturey with Hodo that work. So I really like Snarf and Werf. I really like that you were able to capture a shot that feels right for the Spice and Wolf universe. The one thing that I would love to see in this image, and it's just because like I'm a huge Hodo fan, is I would like Hodo to be coming off a lot sassier in this shot. Like she's a character who gets inebriated and is very hyper in that state, and this shot feels very calm. Like I'd love to see her like, like really, I know this is so like ridiculous and probably wouldn't work in real life, but I would love to see her like really like raising that cup and almost have it like splashing up and out of the cup. But I know I'm asking for a lot there.
I love the lighting in this. Oh, go ahead.
Cute. Oh.
No, go.
I think the photo is super cute and the cosplay is super cute. But I think what I'm missing from it is the burnt orange tones that I think of when I think of Hollow. And I think it's because of the grading made that signature like orangey brown, like kind of muddy green, if that makes sense. Like just the shadows, all the green in the shadows.
Yeah.
Is giving it like not a warm, cozy vibe to it. Like maybe if the colors of the character were different, this grading would make more sense. But since it's like the green fighting against that orange, yeah, I just wish maybe the shadows were a bit different.
Yeah, no, I agree. The teals and the shadows aren't really doing it for me.
Yeah, same.
I definitely wish they were a warmer shadow. Especially because, like, I just think of, like, the vibe of, like, sitting in a pub having a beer, and I don't think of, like, cool teal tones. I really do think of warmer tones.
Warm.
This looks like a treatment that would look nice in a forest.
Oh, yeah.
How do you guys feel about having the shadows lifted this much for the shot?
I mean, I get that they wanted the the details of the legs to show, but I think it's a bit too much. I don't know. I've been kind of contemplating it like on and off as
Yeah,
about
it
it.
feels a bit too too lifted and just a bit too bright in general for like, because once again,
Yeah.
like I'm thinking of a pub and I don't think of a
Mm-hmm.
bright um area. I think kind of darker. I don't want to say
Mm-hmm.
dank, but like
Mm-hmm.
um
Dirk.
not that kind of dank, damn it. Uh but just kind of a just a darker scene in general.
Were you with them when they shot this,
No,
Andrew?
this was I think shot in England.
Oh, okay. Because I was like, where the hell do you find a pub with this kind of light? Because I was like, damn.
Yeah, I believe this shot was from England. I don't.
Okay.
I was definitely not here for this shot.
This is like a nitpicky compliment, actually. But I kind of mentioned it to Heidi in the chat already. I'm appreciating how clean the glass is in this picture because the last time we critiqued something that was like in a bar, the glass was like extremely dirty. I don't know if that was intentional or not, but I just appreciated that it's not like full of like gross fingerprints around the top and you can't see like where she stepped it and stuff. It's just sometimes with like food related items, those things can really stand out. So I just appreciate the cleanliness of the food item in
Heidi says this is a
photos.
real Victorian era pub in England.
Damn, son.
So yeah, it works really well. So once again, gave it a quick play around with in Photoshop to kind of um feel like to see what it would feel like changing those. Hope you don't mind, Heidi. I'm gonna share this real quick. But this is kind of like with those with the shadows brought darker and kind of taking that teal out and bring a kind of like a red tone to those shadows instead. I feel like this kind of gives more of a pub feel to it. So I think there's
Yeah.
you know, just changing the colors around could really make the image feel more pubby.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think it's because there are so many reds and like warm like browns and oranges in it that when you have that teal, it's like complementary, but like not in a good way necessarily.
Another thought on this shot, and I don't know, maybe it wouldn't work. But what do you guys think about I don't know if I'd do this, but maybe trying to Photoshop her smile so it's more of a smirk instead of a smile?
I mean, I would have done that in post if that's.
Yeah. I'm saying in post.
Yeah. Well, especially if her character's supposed to be like a little more sassy.
Especially
I
when
would have
she's
done. I would have
drinking.
done that.
Yes, very much so.
Yeah, I would have done like the mouth and like maybe lift the eyebrow a tiny bit too, just to give it that kind of like eye lift as well.
Yeah.
Because that's hard to do in real life and not look stupid. So.
I think if the cosplayer is okay with that kind of edit, that's fine. And sometimes it's just a case of they could have done it, but nobody in the moment realized that it needed that like extra eyebrow twitch. And yeah, you're just helping the shot out a little bit because you can't go back and do it over. I mean, you could, but yeah.
Yeah, not to say, just to be clear, not that I dislike this expression. I think it looks really good and it's kind of a real soft, like looking genuinely happy kind of smile. So I don't think this is a bad look at all, just to be clear.
Yep.
Mhm.
I'm being nitpicky. Take a drink.
God.
Hey, you're doing storytelling.
Yeah, no, another thing that I do like that I think maybe maybe some people wouldn't like is I like the bit of chair that's out of focus in this shot in the foreground. I think it
You like
makes
it or you don't like it? What did
I
you say?
like it.
Oh yeah,
Mhm.
I like it too.
I feel like it kind of makes this feel like more of a candid shot. Like it makes it feel like it's an actual lived in environment. It doesn't like pull me out of the shot and kind of feel like a photo taken at a bar. It really just helps place things. Um, Kind of on that same thought with the colors. I think part of maybe what I'm not a big fan of either is the strong red on the wall. I don't even know if it's that I dislike the
Oh.
color. I just think the saturation's pretty strong of that
Mhm.
wall. So maybe just desaturate the wall a little bit.
Yeah.
I didn't mind it as much once you added the reds to the shadows, though. Just based on your screen share
Yeah,
earlier.
yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, but I think because it's like competing with all of that like cyan color. Yeah, I don't totally dig it, but
For sure. I still really like this image, but like what I'm only hard on this image because it's holo and I care a lot. I do really like it though. You guys got any thoughts on this one before we move on to our brief intermission and then Q&A?
no.
Nope.
Okay, cool. Well, with that then we are going to take a quick break. We'll be back in 5 minutes with Q&A. So we'll see you shortly. Oh, hey there. Welcome back. You guys ready for some Q&A?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The real question is the chat ready?
Chat, wake
Are you
up.
still there?
Chat, you alive?
Come on, if Andrew and I are still alive, your guys are still alive.
All right. So, if you haven't been to this section before, we're gonna be relying on you guys. It's gonna be 10 minutes Q&A. We're pulling questions from you, chat. So let's start
Yeehaw.
now. Who is your daddy and what does he do?
Why?
Starting off strong with a kindergartner cop
Yep.
quote. Come on, guys. Waiting for those questions. Don't make this the worst
You can
Q&A
literally
we've
ask
ever
us
done.
anything. It doesn't have to be
I
photo.
mean, let's not say anything. We're gonna draw the line somewhere.
Fine.
Opinion on matte black and its
Matte black.
usage.
Oh, I have a lot of comments.
Go for it, Sarah.
I love the matte black look, but I feel like now it's being used for the sake of using matte black. Like, I feel like people are using it because they can, not because it like aesthetically makes a lot of sense. Like, I feel like recently I've been seeing a lot of photos using it, and I'm just like, that didn't really like do anything for it. It just made everything just feel flat. Like, I feel like if you're gonna use it, like, make sure it makes sense, I guess. Yeah.
Best lighting equipment to start off with.
Can't help you there.
Oh, buddy, that is not a good question for necessarily Sarah, especially because I know, Sarah, you don't do any lighting.
Fuck that.
If you want the like hilarious answer, I would say a reflector / diffuser. Super cheap. It'll get you kind of thinking about those ideas. That said, I would consider going with a Yongnuo flash with a shoot through umbrella. Super cheap. You can probably get all that stuff: stand, shoot through umbrella, Yongnuo flash with a trigger for like probably around like $200 for everything, and it gives you a really nice way to enter into the off-camera flash market without really spending a lot, because you can spend a lot in that area, and you can screw up with spending money in the off-camera flash. So I really recommend just starting with the Yongnuos. They're cheap, but they work really well. It's what I end up using. Ara says, thoughts on letting a model pick the photos they like before editing?
I don't do it for two reasons. One is just like a time reason, and the other one could probably be perceived as kind of mean. But well, the first one is like when I do like, let's say 6 bookings for a convention weekend. Some people are really fast about getting back to you what they want, and then some people aren't. And so when you're like waiting like weeks and weeks and weeks for people to get back to you to edit, it just creates your backlog, and you're like, dude, I just got to edit these photos. The other one is that sometimes I feel like they're not. If they do pick it, like I do worry that maybe choose like the strongest one compositionally speaking.
Yeah.
That being said, a good workaround is because I know what's his name? Alive Elf does this. He only, like, when I shot with him, he only sent me the raw images that he liked. So at least he had confidence in what I would choose he would like as well. So there is a workaround to that, but if a photographer isn't doing it, that's probably one of the main reasons why. It sounds awful. I'm sorry.
What I usually do in that respect is if I'm gonna have a cosplayer pick, I usually like to narrow it down to like 2 to 3 photos that they're picking between, like, I like all of these shots. They're fairly similar. Which one of these do you like most?
Mm-hmm.
So, but that said, like, there's very few cosplayers that I'll go through the raws with. For the most part, no, because honestly, half of it is because, like, probably at least like half of my shots are garbage or out of
trash!
focus.
They're trash, you guys.
I feel like super lucky in this sense because I usually work with friends, and then usually, I say usually a lot. After a shoot, we'd go through the film together, and we'd kind of select shots together, and so that way we kind of agree on what to edit.
Um,
I know not everyone has that, opportunity to do that with the photographers or cosplayers that they work with, but yeah.
I think because you guys do like a lot of like pre-planned, pre-production, like on-location photo shoots, so it's like you have this like immediate working team. So I think for you guys that's important. But when it's convention shooting, I'm kind of like I don't have time to like do this. Really.
Chase every single one for their approval.
So,
Oh my god.
And I feel like if someone chooses to work with you, they, trust you to pick what would be best and what would reflect, your style.
Mm-hmm.
So, next question is going to be from Alexandria Lee. She asks, "Is the convention photography is convention photography a dying market?" I don't.
So I know this. No, this was going around like a month ago. I noticed people were like, "Cosplay photography's dead." No, people are always going to be shooting at cons. Yes, people are learning about the positives of like on location shooting, but I don't think that's necessarily deeming like convention shooting and cosplay photography dead.
Yeah, like KatsuCon, a con based on essentially cosplay photography, was the most packed it ever was this year. I don't think it's dying. If it is, I haven't seen it yet. We'll see how things play out. I think it's just as popular as ever, at least at the cons I'm going to.
Especially with the volume of photographers that there are. So like even like I've stopped shooting at KatsuCon because I can't stand it anymore. But there's like 10 other photographers that are shooting instead of me. So I don't think it's dead.
Yeah, I just don't. I think maybe on location shoots are getting more popular. But that's it's not a zero sum game. So
yeah.
Okay. Let's see. Next one is from Conroar Gaming. When you take photos for cosplay, how do you get into your character so well? I feel like this is
that's a Jin question
for Jin because I could not answer that at all.
I think first thing is being comfortable with your photographer, and even if you just met, you can say that, are you familiar with this character, and kind of discuss what you want to bring out in the shots. And also you can talk to them about like, oh, I think my wig looks better in this angle. Can you make sure my eyes aren't being covered by the bangs? And just having simple things like that out of the way like clears your mind to sort of get into character. And I think that's where having those references come in as well, just like thinking of the scene and really just like what I said earlier, I always think of how would I want this to look as like a scene from a live action movie. So yeah.
On the other side of that, as a photographer, how do you help a cosplayer get into a character? My best suggestion is just do whatever you can to make them not feel embarrassed by it. Because like I try to almost like embarrass myself first, so that like almost to be like, see, I did it. It's not embarrassing, because then it kind of allows them the freedom to not feel embarrassed by doing anything. So yeah.
And also, I think having like showing how the shots are looking so that the cosplayer can see where they could improve. Having that back and forth before, you're already home and there's nothing more you can do.
Yeah.
I think that's really important.
Okay. Last question we're gonna do. Sorry if we missed yours. Can only do so many. And is thoughts or tips on shooting in public locations? I got kicked out of my last public location shoot.
I've gotten kicked out so many times. Make sure contact the place ahead of time. Ask if there's a permit. Just avoid all of that awkward bullshit. In terms of being comfortable in cosplay, you just have to like not give a fuck and just do it. Like you just have to go into it expecting that people are gonna ask questions and stare at you. Like, and then if someone's being rude, just tell them to like GTFO and you're fine.
Yep.
So
and it's like 2 seconds of someone being rude. Don't let it ruin your whole day.
Yeah, there's gonna be those people regardless. So
I've been pretty lucky outside of my last one. I usually go into like be like, where in the woods can we go where there is going to be no one by us? But yeah, no, you just really have to let the almost actively ignore people. Like you need to pretend like people aren't there, because people are going to be looking at you. And it's best to just like almost put blinders on and be like I am literally only focusing on this photography right now and nothing else, and it can help you kind of zone all of that out.
It's easier said than done. I'm saying it like it's so easy. It took like get over that. And I always have initial anxiety before I have an on location shoot today. Like I'm like, oh fuck. Like even just walking, like going down my elevator in my apartment complex, I'm like, oh my god, if someone gets in this elevator, I swear to god I'm just gonna die.
It helps to bring a lot of friends.
Yeah.
Like just for moral support. Apart from, can you hold the reflector, please?
Please shield me from these normies.
The more people you have, the better. I usually try and do one large like forest like meetup where we get like 15 people, and that once you get enough people give you less weird stares, and they're more like intrigued, like, oh, what is this?
Oh, they're doing something.
Are you filming a movie?
Yes, I'm in the next Avengers. Hell yeah.
This is the Weeb Avengers movie.
I'd watch it.
I love that.
Yeah, that's Q&A. Store those Q&A questions you didn't get answered or didn't ask quite yet for next time, because this will be back. People seem to like it, so we'll keep on doing this Q&A. So with that, let's jump back into the critique, because we're on a slow pace tonight. We're halfway through the critiques, and it's 2 hours and 20 minutes into this. Lol. Technically 2 hours and 10 minutes. Well, okay, whatever. So let's go on to the next photo. This one is from YGK Photos. Sarah, do you want to start us off on this shot?
Yeah. First of all, I think the location for this this character is really, really good.
Yes.
Cabaneri has like that super industrial, like train track, like coal mine, like look to it. So the fact that they were able to find this location, I think, is like pretty awesome.
This was, I believe, this was shot at Pixelmania in Poland. Which
what is that event that like
it's funny because
just the beautiful location.
Yeah, YGK is a Midwest photographer, so I was just like, wait, what? You went to Pixelmania? Okay, cool.
Dang.
Yeah, what the fuck?
Wow.
But yeah, no, it works. It's got that kind of steampunky vibe. Maybe not
which
steampunky,
works
post-apocalyptic-y almost.
No, I mean Cabaneri is post-apocalyptic.
But
I mean mostly
like,
steampunk.
Yeah, maybe it's like steam punk made love to post-apocalyptic.
Yeah. So I think that's really cool because I think the aesthetics of the show are really cool, and it's a hard series to shoot because it is difficult to find those kinds of areas to shoot in without it being like, you can't enter here, this is dangerous. Anyway, that being said, kind of wish I think this is a photo where I feel like color grading could have been played around with a little bit more. Only because I mean, you can edit however the hell you want, but just for my personal opinion is Cabaneri has a very specific color tone to it, and I think because you got the perfect location and her outfit is so good and she just looks super badass, I think it would have been cool to just see it taken to the next level with some experimentation in colors.
I agree. The color grading feels pretty. I don't want to say. It feels like you haven't done anything. It feels very natural, but I want it to be graded. To me, what feels the weirdest on this image is the pose.
Yeah.
And I really mean the pose in terms of context, because is she pointing and shooting at a wall? Because that's what my brain says.
Oh, yeah, the perspective is kind of confusing.
I
I don't know.
see
She
what
might
you
be
mean,
shooting
yeah.
past the wall.
right.
Yeah.
It might be a short, but for all I can tell in this photo, it just looks like she's shooting at a wall, and it really feels confusing to me because
Yeah.
I don't see
Yeah,
what
that did
she's
not even
looking
dawn
at.
on
I don't
me.
see what she's shooting at. I just see a wall.
Yeah.
And just her body in general, the top part's really just flat.
Yeah, and it's the pose just kind of feels clunky. This is a little bit ridiculous, but on my part, but totally straight arm while shooting a gun is a bad time. That whole pose while shooting a gun is a bad time. Twisting your body with a straight arm, that's just asking for a bad time. So I think that's part of the reason why I feel the pose doesn't make a lot of sense to me.
And also she's standing so straight.
Yeah.
You would think that gate required a fair bit of effort to push open, and I wish there was also someone to kind of throw her cape a bit for a bit more movement.
Yeah, I wish it looked like she was running through that opening. Then
Yeah, it's either bursting through or just running through an already partially open gate, if that makes things simpler.
Yeah.
Someone says it's an NES zapper. She'll be fine. It's not, but I wish
There's
it
no
was.
kickback. There's no recoil.
The other thing with this shot is I just think the rim light is too strong.
The whites are blown out in front as well.
I don't. Are they on the? Hold on. We're gonna check that there. No, the whites aren't blown out on the front.
They're just very bright.
They're just very bright.
Yeah, they're very
out.
hot.
It's just contrast wise, they feel a bit strong. They're not blown out. But that means you can tone them down. So there's detail that you can bring down.
I think that's what I meant.
To me, it's more that the rim light on her face is brighter than any other area on her face. I don't have problems necessarily with the rim light, just the brightness of the rim light. Especially because it maybe would make sense if it was a warm color and then it kind of made it feel like sun outside, but it looks overcast and dreary in the background, which works really well for the context of the photo, but the rim light, I almost wish you didn't have the rim light in a way, or really, really toned it down.
Yeah.
Yep. And I don't know if it's just me, but at a certain zoom level, the rim light kind of makes her look cross-eyed. I don't know if you can see that.
Yeah, it's just kind of.
Oh my god.
Yeah, because I've had that happen to me, and like people roast me for it, and I'm like, but it's just the light. But yeah,
Yeah, it can
something
happen
to
Mhm.
watch out
sometimes.
for.
It's just that the catch light of the rim is only happening in one eye.
Yeah,
So
Oh my god,
kind
I
of
can't
like
see it
yeah.
now. Damn
I'm
it.
so sorry.
Oh
I think
god, yeah.
also part of what I dislike about the rim light is how much it's like highlighting that like shinier area on the wall that her hands against,
Hmm.
Yeah.
because that is just altogether too bright, and you could probably dim that in post as well.
Mm-hmm.
Another thing I would maybe do in post is make the grungy rusty panels grungier,
Oh,
like
100%.
yeah, just
I'd even
really.
add textures on the clothes to give them some weathering.
Yeah, someone brought that up in the chat
Yeah,
actually.
that
Mm-hmm.
one's hard. I would agree. I would like to see the costume more weathered, but that would be something I'd talk to the cosplayer first before I did.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but I would agree. I would do feel like they're a bit too clean given the context.
Yep.
Any other thoughts on this one before we move on to the next shot?
I think we've covered it.
Yeah.
Cool. Then
Mm-hmm.
let us go on to the next shot. This one is from Natsu. I can't read summer photography.
I think that's the kanji for summer.
Well,
Yeah, that's
then
what I thought too. Not to.
Yeah.
you know
So
what?
it's like summer
Summer,
photography.
summer photography.
Uh,
Well, with that out of the
all right.
way, Jin, do you want to
Okay.
lead us off here?
So this is Galahad from FGO. Um, uh, I really like the overall feel of the colors. Like the whole pastel theme is really cute and makes me think of like Pixiv fan art, if that makes sense. And I wouldn't be
Yeah.
surprised if that was their inspiration, even with like the manipulation on the sky feels very like that Japanese digital art.
It's definitely
Um,
painted in now that I'm zooming in.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And I think like that's the thing with this. I wonder if it was color graded before the sky manipulation was painted in, because the whites on it are so bright. Like the brightest out of the whole image is on that like swirl in the sky, and
Mm-hmm.
you can kind of see where um the white was painted on over the trees, which
Yeah.
is a bit distracting. Like otherwise it would have been like a pretty good um like manipulation. Apart from that, correct me if I'm wrong, but I know one of Galahad's eyes are covered by his hair, but isn't it like the other eye?
Wait, what's his name? Galahad?
Galahad.
I would have no freaking clue. So this maybe is a good question for chat.
It is the other eye.
Yeah, so I think that's like something where communication between the photographer and the cosplayer would come in handy, and like both people being familiar with what they're shooting. And just overall, like, I mean, the composition is interesting, but I don't know if the cosplayer is doing much more than holding that big prop, because I can't really see what else he might be doing. Even just like a subtle, you know, bit
Mm-hmm.
of change of stance would be nice. But like, it looks like a prop feature actually.
Yeah, it's like very
Um,
much front and center.
mhm.
Um, So something I want to talk about in this photo, and I think this is a good example to use this method from. Occasionally, what I do with my photo to kind of figure out whether it's popping or not is
Mm-hmm.
I squint my eyes and look at the photo and
Mm-hmm.
try and see,
Right.
like, with it blurred, am I able to figure out where like what areas are my eyes drawn to? I think this image,
Mm.
its biggest problem is its luminosity range is just chilling in the middle of the histogram. Like, there is very little, like,
Is that what's like throwing me
it's
off?
so much midtones in this shot.
That's true.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
So I was like, what is the lighting situation
Like
in this?
like
I don't
if you look at the
understand.
histogram, it's like boop in the middle and then comes out, like it
Yep.
does have highlights, but like most of it is chilling in the areas. So here's a trick that I like to do in Photoshop for this. So I duplicated the layer, I changed it to black and white, and then I Gaussian blurred it a lot. And when you're looking at the image like this, you're removing like everything except like kind of the overall luminosity
Oh,
values of an image, and this allows you to like
yeah.
pick out where the focus is. Like, the image is very flat, like the only like darker sections of it
Mm-hmm.
are in the bottom of the shield, and like if you look at
Mm-hmm.
it this blurred, you realize that you're essentially like losing the entirety of the cosplayer. It's real
Yeah.
this photo
I
is
I
really all
can't
shield.
I can't even see him
Yeah,
in
No, he's
this.
gone.
yeah. So
Yeah.
Wow.
like, I mean, admittedly, this is meant to be an extreme way of looking at things, but
Mm-hmm.
it really allows you to figure out how, like, luminosity wise, where is your photo being focused in at.
Yeah.
And this image has a ton of midtones and really like not a ton of like luminosity focus. Like, really the only focal point of this image is kind of that cross section of the on the shield.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. One minor thing too, like um I wish you see that water on the bottom left. It's
Oh
so
yeah,
green.
it's really green.
Yeah. I
Oh
wish it could have
yeah.
been fixed a little bit because it takes away from the beauty of the location.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I hadn't realized how green that was up
Me
until
neither.
now.
It's kind of murky too.
Yeah.
Yeah. Dang.
I do. The one thing I will say that's really positive in this image is, for the most part, I really like the sky replacement. There's a little bit of sloppiness on it.
Mhm.
Like, if you look on the rightmost edge of the image, you can see there's like some like vertical lines where they
Yeah.
missed the like right here and then right here where they missed kind of cleaning things up. But
Oh yeah.
A little
um
wonky.
yeah, so like make sure you're not missing that, because it really looks like that wasn't even on the texture so much. But
Mhm.
just spend the extra time and really get it clean. It's a little sloppy around the bushes as well. What I would look
Mhm.
into using for making a selection like this is look into some Photoshop's Refine Edge,
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
or Refine Edge / Select and Mask. I prefer Refine Edge, but it's a deprecated tool, so probably look into Select and Mask. It'll allow you to make
Yeah.
a lot better of a
I
selection
love
along those areas.
masking.
Yeah. Right.
Um,
Mhm.
Honestly, if you took that water to be a blue tone to match the sky, that could really kind of
Right?
bring
They look really
It would
image
nice.
pull
together.
the composition together.
Yeah. And how could
Mhm.
I miss this opportunity to throw those Dutch angle emotes into the chat?
I was
Um,
waiting for it.
Sarah's
Yep.
just like, how did this take so long?
I know. I was like, why hasn't he said it yet?
This is, I think, an example of an image that didn't need the Dutch angle.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Like the location's already really cool. The costume's cool. it's already dynamic on its own. Didn't really need it.
I'd give the costume a bit of a digital iron.
That's real.
Yeah.
And I think I would have liked it if the photographer had moved to the side a little bit, just so there's less of the shield in your face and just a bit more of Galahad.
Yeah, I would also maybe shoot this a little less wide because it's so wide. The shield is so much in the frame compared to the cosplayer. The shield is substantially bigger than the cosplayer, and like, what are you really focusing on in this photo? Is it the cosplayer or the shield
Or the prop.
Yeah, so
It's a great prop feature.
Yeah.
okay, you guys ready to move on to the next shot?
Yep.
Okay, let's do it. This next one is from Archong Photo. Let me get this up on the screen. I'm amused by the approach of this image. Whoops, wrong button. To kind of really attempt to make it feel kind of like a scene of a dubbed show, and I really like it too that it and this is just kind of stupid in a way that the subtitle is not fully on the image, it's on the like it just makes it feel like it was actually pulled from a show. Like
No.
A Netflix original.
It's kind of annoying, but it's also endearing. Like
Right.
it's a double-edged sword. So
I mean, they're trying something.
Yeah, no, like what they did was nailed the like drama feel, like to a fault, like because like in terms of like that as an image element, it is not a good image element. But it makes it feel like a drama. So then is it really a bad image element?
Like
no, it's
somebody screen capped their Netflix screen.
That said, the framing of this shot, given that it's trying to feel like a drama, feels really confusing to me. I would really want them centered in this image.
Yeah.
Because right now, like Deku kind of almost feels like this addition to the image, and Uraka is the focus, but I really feel like what's meant to be the focus of this image is kind of the tension and relationship between them, but just the framing kind of makes it feel not as strong. Also, the pose with kind of getting the back of the head is kind of pulls out of the feeling as well. I'd kind of want this to be a side profile for both of them.
I could barely see Deku in here, especially with all the greens and the shadows.
Yeah, he blends in a little bit.
And if you zoom in, his eyes are all white, and it looks like he's looking above.
Yeah, I was gonna bring that up. I was like, is he looking forward or up? I was kind of confused.
Yeah. And I think this is one of those things where you see how maybe this could have been cute as like a photo set, but as a standalone image, it like needs a bit of work.
Yeah. I like it in concept. This is the kind of thing, if you had like 3 or 4 shots building in this
I think
set,
it would be really cute.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But like this on its own feels a little bit weird. The other thing that feels weird, and I think this is probably caused by the lighting of this scene, the
Deku's
skin
green
tones.
face. Yeah.
Yeah, Deku's got like these like yellowy tones in his face, but like the back of his neck is red, and then Uraka is very red with her tones. So they feel like they're very different skin tones, and they may actually be very different skin tones because I've worked with
But
many
if you look
shots,
at their hands, Their
Yeah.
hands match pretty well.
Oh yeah.
True. Yeah. So I would just spend a little extra time in Photoshop to try
Yeah.
and get
Matching that up.
their skin tones to match a
Yep.
little bit.
Mm-hmm.
The one thing I do like about this shot is I really like the background. Like kind of it looks like kind of that like 50 millimeter 1.8 look with that kind of sharp ridges on the bokeh.
Mhm.
Like
Mm-hmm.
it just kind of works well for this drama feel. I don't know why it
Yeah,
does, but it
exactly.
does.
It really does.
Be curious. I guessed
That
50
city
millimeter
light
1.8.
bokeh.
Let's find out if I'm right. Let's see, is the details here. Dang it. Metadata's not in there.
Not in there.
Damn. Um
People are saying Deku's thinking of All Might.
I mean, probably.
I mean-
Major fanboy.
Mm-hmm.
Ice and Fire Boy.
um
It's my boy.
before we go down this rabbit hole, you guys got any other final thoughts on this shot before we move on to the next one?
I think we pretty much touched on
Awesome.
all the things.
Sweet. Then let's move on to the next shot. This one is from Stucky Media. Sarah, do you want to lead us off here?
Got some pop star Ari. Oh no, Star Guardian Ari. Whatever. League of Legends. Anyway. Lol. I really like the colors in this photo. One of my favorite things about the Star Guardian designs is how colorful they are. So I think they did a good job in like playing off of that for their editing. I'm gonna jump into something that's like kind of bothering me. I don't know if it's just how her tails are, but I kind of wish that they were up instead of laying down.
Or just
Again.
like draped around her if they're
Something. Yeah, they just feel like really awkward the way that it's like kind of like fanning out on the sides and then like down the middle. I don't know.
Like,
It just
I feel like
feels
it'd feel
weird.
a lot less weird if she just didn't have those ones going down like that she was sitting on. If those were going
Yeah.
behind her, that would
Anything between the legs is a little awkward.
Yeah. I feel bad for bringing up like a negativity like firsthand, but it was kind of like it just was bothering me a little bit. And I'm not entirely sure about the pose. I wish, I mean, aside from her sitting on the tails, I kind of wish maybe her legs were crossed or something, and you could like maybe like bring her hands forward so they're not being chopped off by the tails. I mean, Ari is like very sassy. And these outfits lend really well to like super idly poses as well.
That's true.
So I think the pose is pretty weak, considering the character and also the skin. So I wish that had been improved a bit during the shoot.
So
I mean
Go ahead.
Oh, the cosplay is really good. It's really cute and colorful. Like I don't know about all of these things we can, identify in the background as like someone's yard or something. It's like not a place I would think to see Ari.
Right.
I think what I kind of wish for the shot, like, because I know the light's quite nice where she is. If she had propped up her legs up onto this ledge, kind of put her body to the side, had the tails draped, and had the angle of the camera sort of point upward so that we see more of just that bokeh to give her like a hazy background rather than having all this, house and fences and things like that.
Yeah. I think on that note, part of the reason why that doesn't work very well is like the luminosity of the background. Like it's really bright, like especially you're blowing the highlights of the leaves up top. Like if it were me, I would try to have, like photoshopped some of those out cuz like those are drawing my attention something fierce. It's just like once again similar to that previous image, like squint your eyes and look at it, and like my eyes like I get drawn to the white or on her body, and then I get
Mm-hmm.
drawn to the very top of the frame
Trees.
with the blown out lights in the trees.
Yeah.
Um,
And like on the body, it's not super overexposed, but on the trees, it really is.
Mm-hmm.
like I know we kind of talked about the pose before, but like the more I look at it, the more it bothers me. She's
Yeah.
just like
Mhm.
dead onto the camera,
Yeah.
except the only thing that's not is her face is slightly crooked, and that's probably the best part about the pose is entirely her face. Like, have her turn her legs off to the side so her knees are pointing to the left of the frame. Like,
Mhm.
there's just so much more uh dynamic of a pose you could have her in. Like, just right now her body is just totally, and this is gonna sound mean, but totally uninteresting.
Mm.
I mean, it's not wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's also just like there's like some foreshortening happening on her too. It's just not super flattering for the model
Yeah.
at all.
The other part on the posing is kind of goes hand in hand is the lighting. Like, this photo I'm almost certain was flashed, but
Mm.
if you're going to use the flash on a photo like this, make sure that you're putting it in an area where it's going to be very flattering. Oh no, our webcams froze. Lol. I wonder how that happened.
Oh my god, they did.
Oh
Oh my
god.
god, our
I
faces
thought
are
it was just me.
amazing.
Okay,
I
they're
gotta
back. They're
screenshot
back.
this
They're
immediately.
back. They're back. They're back.
Okay.
So if you're going to use the a flash for that, make sure that you're using, like, you're getting like a weird hard light on the nose, the like you're not getting all that nice of like catch lights in the eyes. I'd bring the light closer, really soften it up. Maybe uh it's hard because I don't want the flash straight onto her body, so I'd maybe take it a little bit more of an angle and have her head look over more. But like where that light is right now, I don't think it, like, if you're gonna have it in that position, really have it as a fill, unless, and right now it's acting as a key.
Mhm.
So also color toning. I feel like you've got a huge opportunity to make this image feel a lot more cohesive with some very even just like easy color toning. The greens and yellows don't really work well with the pinks and blues.
Mhm.
Bring some either like reds into those greens, or take them really blue, and you've got something to work for more of like a cohesive color palette.
Yeah.
Any other thoughts on this one before we move to the next shot?
I think just one additional
good.
thing in post is cleaning up the foreground elements.
Yeah,
Like
I
if
was
they didn't have
literally
any
just
other,
thinking about that.
yeah,
Oh.
just like cloning out those like leaves and sticks and stuff.
Mhm.
Mhm.
Yeah.
If you can, spend the time while you're there. Like, I'm bad at this, but like if you
I am
can,
too.
just try before you press the shutter, spend like a couple extra seconds, like set the camera down and clean up your frame before you take the photo, because
Oh, that's true.
future you will thank you so much for it.
Mhm.
Because, like, not that any of these are hard to clone out, but it would take you less time to
Just
clean
like
up,
brush it out.
yeah, this
yourself.
frame yourself in real life than it would to retouch it. And that way, especially if you're delivering multiple photos in this location, you
Exactly.
just like saved yourself a ton of time. Once again, I'm bad at doing this. Like, I screw that up. It's hard. You have to put yourself into a specific mindset where, like,
Mhm.
when you're looking through the camera lens, you take the time to look at the entirety of your frame, and not just like me, when I'm looking through,
model.
half the time I'm looking at the model, making sure the pose is right, making sure the
Then that's
composition
it.
looks good, and then I take the photo, and then I'm like, oh fuck, I screwed it up later.
Yeah.
All right. Now for real, any final thoughts on this one, or move on to the next?
No.
All right, cool. Let's move on to the next shot. This one is from Miss Starlington. Jin, do you want to lead us off here?
Oh, this is super cool. Just like really nice and moody. And it's another of those shots where you kind of question, like, what am I looking at? Is this a cosplay? Is this digital art? Is this a figure? And for what it is, I think that fits. And I remember when you showed us the submissions from this photographer, they were taking pictures around like a parking lot, was it?
Yeah, it was like a
And
parking garage. Yeah.
this is a really good spot where I would believe that it's like some sort of fortress or castle.
Yeah,
Dude, right?
No, it doesn't look like a
It's
parking
so
garage at
good.
all.
Yeah, like just finding the right spot and blurring it out a little bit really sells that illusion, and I love that about this.
Absolutely 100% agree. I am. Someone asked if someone. No, it was Warhammer. I could have told you that, Sarah.
Yeah.
Oh.
I thought that was someone in chat. I'm like, I could have just told you this. Yes,
No, that was me. I didn't want to interrupt your
No.
your
I just love how like it can be really hard to get good photos of like armor cosplays because it's inherently hard to get interesting poses with them because they can't really pose for the most part. Like,
I can't move my body at all.
yeah, like I imagine this cosplayer probably had like 2 poses that they could pick: standing straight up, and then if they had a weapon, probably holding it in front of them or holding it at their side. Like they were probably so insanely limited on what they could do. So it's really awesome that you were able to find a kind of angle and a lighting that made the shot feel really interesting and dynamic, and kind of countered having that kind of like boring stationary poses that lots of these like heavy armor sets can have.
I think this like very moody lighting helps with
Yeah,
that
absolutely.
too.
Like when there's a mask and you can't have any real expression, you really do have to rely on the lighting and the angles.
Yeah, like I feel like I can read the expression of this cosplayer even though you can't see their face at all, which is pretty cool.
Resh said in the chat that he wishes the lines in the background could have been straighter, and I agree.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. I think this is a case where like since you don't have to worry necessarily about proportions, I would not even worry about doing this in terms of like a rotation crop. I would actually distort this image
Oh,
yeah.
to fix those straight lines. I think that works. Just so people know what I'm talking about, I'll screen share real quick here. So like this is the kind of distortion fix I'm talking about, where you just take that and just straighten the line there. And because obviously you're not working with someone who you can inherently see their proportions, this armor, it's just, you're not going to read anything like that. So, yeah, you're fine to distort like that.
even the armor actually looked better after you distorted the image.
Yeah, that's wild.
Damn. Couple of nitpicky things on the like pauldron area here. I would personally clean up like that line.
Oh yeah,
It's
seam
just
line.
yeah, it's not bad, but it draws my attention in.
And it doesn't quite look like battle damage either.
Yeah, no, it just looks like, for the most part, this cosplay looks really impeccable, but like that's just like the one area that kind of sticks out to me. The other thing that's getting to me is in like the top right corner of this image, you're starting to get some compression artifacts from
Oh, I
like
see it.
from lifting the
Oh
shadows a
yeah.
ton. And you can
Yep.
see like around the top of the helmet, you're getting like a little bit of weird like retouching like effects. I would try and like use like a color overlay to try and clean that up, try and make the color
Yep.
feel a bit more uniform. It just
I think that would work.
yeah, you're just getting like these artifacts like you're not going to notice them, especially on Facebook, but
Hmm.
someone asked if it's just shot in JPEG. I don't think that's the case. I think this is just a case of like these
Lifting
shadows
those
probably
blacks.
were lifted a ton. So
Yeah.
at least that would be my guess. But I don't know that for certain. Any other thoughts on this one?
Well, I did want to talk about the composition. I kind of wish they'd taken like maybe like one step back. The headspace for me at the top is a little
I don't
bit
even
too
know if
much.
it's stepped back, but just lowered the camera a smidge.
Or what? It's just something.
Yeah.
There's just I just
Yeah.
think there's too much negative space on the top part and like to the left. But that's just kind of like whatever. I mean, you could literally just probably just crop in also.
Yeah.
It'd be a little better.
Yeah, the crop in probably could work too.
Yeah.
I would also maybe take those shadows that are in the top right and maybe make them bluer. They've kind of got this green tone. Kind
Yeah.
of give that like you've got the gold light there and give that blue in the shadows could look really nice.
Yeah, that'd be nice.
Or maybe not even blue, but just desaturate them more. Because I'm not sure I'm feeling the green in the shadows there.
Yep.
Okay, you guys ready for the final image of the night?
Yep.
I laughed how at the start of this when I said if we go 3 hours then we need to start shorting it. Well, we've got 10 minutes before we hit 3 hours, so we're cutting.
Okay, to be fair, we had an extra section this time.
Yeah, but also we cut out 3 photos.
3 less photos. Whoops.
You know.
Whoopsies. Okay, so this next shot is from Chikara, and it's Natsume Yojincho, and I fucking love Natsume Yojincho.
Wait, is
It's
Chikara
so
the
good.
photographer?
I believe so.
I like this work. I'm gonna stalk them right now.
Yeah, no, this is awesome. Like, okay, right off the bat, I am a sucker for Natsume Yojincho, so like, there's that. So I already love it purely on that. But like, it's just a good photo. Like it nails
It's
the
gorgeous.
aesthetic that Natsume has. It just like has this kind of like I don't want to say quite watercolory feel to it, but that's kind of the vibe I'm getting from the shot. The colors have the shadows have this nice red. It's kind of they're lifted quite a bit. It just feels airy and bright.
You know who it reminds me of, who hasn't submitted in a really long time? Is Elcam Photography.
Yeah, it's kind of got a similar feeling.
Like that kind of that like we called the soft pastel.
Yeah, I feel like
Asian
Elcam,
editing.
Yeah, Elcam I feel goes a little bit more saturated on the colors.
Yeah, these are definitely
less
more
of
muted.
these like warm muted colors. His tend to be vibrant and fun, which isn't a bad thing. But like for Natsume, this is so perfect. I love it.
It's perfect.
I love the foreground flowers coming out of focus there. I dig the pose with the hand on the flower. This is the kind of scene that doesn't make any sense. Like, why would this person be standing here in the flowers like that? It's really stupid,
Well,
but
why
I love
not?
it.
It
Like,
just
I've
makes
done
a
this-
beautiful photo.
Yeah. No, it makes for a
Yeah.
beautiful photo. It doesn't make any sense. I've done this kind of like posing all the time, and it's great.
The expression's great. Like the hands are great. Just like really soft and natural.
The area that I feel a little bit weird on though is the skin tone. There's something here that feels like a bit off to me, and I can't quite nail it down.
It's kind of
it's hard with this wig color. I always find.
Yeah, I think that
too.
might be part of it.
Yeah, there's like not enough contrast between the hair and the, I don't know, something.
I think it's that the midtones of it are matching the background, and also like if you zoom in to the hand, it's getting those little bit of like grayish patches, I guess, from the color grading,
Yeah.
which you can correct. But yeah, and the right hand is a little bit overexposed in comparison to the rest of
Yeah, it
Natsume.
is.
Yeah. It's pretty nitpicky.
It is. It's just such a beautiful image, but we gotta say something.
I was like, I don't have anything bad to say.
Oh, I've got the most nitpicky nitpick there ever was nitpicked.
Give it to us. Take us to Nitpick Town.
Okay.
Seriously,
so,
I'm like, what could it possibly be?
So, the cosplayer looks like they have a ear piercing, but it's taken out.
Stop! Are you
But
freaking
there's still the hole.
the hole?
From the
Oh my
ear
God.
piercing right here.
Jesus Christ!
It takes
No
like
one
the
listened to this.
fraction of a second and
No.
Photoshop that out. Sarah's like, I'm done. That's too
Oh my
nitpicky.
God!
You've gone too far.
That's
We've
too
gotta draw
far.
the line somewhere. There was the line.
Oh, I literally was like, what could he possibly be bringing up? It's so like, what? Okay, well, this image is fantastic. Moving on.
Yeah, I don't have much negative to say. Like everything that I feel like maybe I'd tweak, I also already like about the image. Like the color and the shadows, I would maybe take that like a bit more purpley, but at the same time, I already really, really like what's there. So
I would really just balance that hand, that's all.
yeah, I'd say like if we're gonna continue in Nitpick Town, the highlight on their right hand is pretty intense compared to the rest of the photo, so I'd maybe try and bring the vibrancy or the luminance down a little bit. Because it's pretty intense there. That's all I got, guys.
Do you guys see the line in the cheek? Somebody in the chat said.
I don't.
Line
I
on
don't
the
either.
cheek. I mean, I can zoom
This
in
skin
for-
retouching is really freaking nice,
Yeah.
or this person's
Yep.
flawless. I don't
I
know.
love that you can see the texture.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's maybe the only thing I could think of is there's like this little area on the neck that I would still have retouched, that line there. But even that is pretty ridiculous at this point. Like their retouch is pretty nice. There's some incredibly minor things that I would still do with the retouch, but like
Nothing that like makes it.
yeah, especially
Like,
at viewing size, when you're viewing it like this, you can't see any of that shit anyways. So
Yeah. I see what you mean, where there are a few patches of skin that are just a smidge sharper, but I mean, no one's gonna see that.
Yeah. And that was the final image of the critique, guys. We made it through. We're at 2 minutes and 55 seconds, so we did it under 3 hours.
We did it.
Way to go, us. Let's see. Do I have any final notes to wrap things up? Okay, so figure I'll go ahead and announce the next critique. So Rush, I want to see the Warhammer giant flowers like that.
Oh hell, dude! Actually, that would be pretty cool.
That would be
contrast.
phenomenal.
That'd be dope.
So next critique, and some of you guys were probably wondering, you submitted your photos. Why weren't they in here? One, we cut off the limit earlier than normal, 12 photos instead of 15. And there's, I will move those to the next critique. And normally you have to wait a little bit, but the next critique is actually this upcoming Thursday, the 27th. So you will not have to wait long for the next critique, which is awesome. Kind of makes up for there being like a 3-ish week break in between critiques. So yay. So next Thursday, the 27th at 7 p.m. Central, 8 p.m. Eastern. And that will be with Ches Photo. She's a guest we have yet to have on, so that should be pretty exciting. Her work's really awesome. Want to reiterate a couple things I said up top. If you're submitting photos, only submit one per critique because we only take one per person. And then if you're a cosplayer submitting, make sure that you have permission from the photographer to submit a photo, because otherwise I cannot use it, or maybe not cannot, but I won't use it. Let's see. Do I have any other things to wrap up this show? Thanks so much up front for the everyone that filled out the survey. If you have continued feedback for me, please feel free to reach out to me. Like, I'm always receptive of things and wanting to improve these critiques. So please let me know. If you feel like you've enjoyed this and want to help or show your appreciation, feel free to give it a donation or a sub. Everything is really appreciated and helps kind of us want to continue to put in the effort to making this a great product for you guys. So don't feel obligated by any means, but just know that it is greatly appreciated. And then a huge thanks to Jin for joining us on this episode. It was awesome having you on and working with a very different time zones. I'm super happy that it worked out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So Jin, where can people find your work?
Well, you could just go to behindinfinity.net and there'll be a bunch of links.
Okay.
And most of them are there.
Yeah, I know you're on Facebook, lol. We talked about Facebook before, but then Instagram as well. So
yeah, Instagram is jin.behindinfinity. So I'm pretty active there.
Awesome. Yeah. Sarah, you look like you're staring off into space right now. It's kind of amazing.
I'm ready for sleep.
Oh, yeah.
I'm so tired. What?
Sarah, where can people find your stuff?
Instagram. That's it. I mean, I've been cross-posting to Facebook because I realized they had an option now where you can just automatically have it do it for you. You don't have to say it per post. So that's been a lifesaver. But, like, please don't contact me on Facebook. I probably won't see your message.
I'll let you guys in on a little secret. Avoid Sarah's Instagram on Wednesdays.
No, don't avoid it. Well, just don't look at my story. That's fine. It ends next week, so you know.
Okay, well then only next week, Dad. I'm just kidding. I'm not serious.
I don't give a fuck. Clearly.
Yeah. Also follow Sarah on Twitter because she's on Twitter. But
yeah.
But she says that with much trepidation. So
no, you can follow me on Twitter. It's just a lot of shit posting. It's like not actual useful content. But that's a really good place to message me though, because I do see that.
Yeah.
Easier. Also, messaging on Instagram freaking sucks. So.
I am on Instagram and Facebook and obviously Twitch. I'm gonna try and do more photo editing streams in the future. So if you want to see those, try and follow me and pay attention because they're going to be random. I do not schedule those out. It's usually like, wait, do I have free time today? Oh shit, I'm gonna do some photo editing and I'll stream it. Since I've been incredibly busy with my life the past like month or so, it's been a lot harder to make those happen, but I really want to make them happen more. So hopefully I'll be able to do those more soon. Once again, huge thank you to everyone who subbed and and donated over the course of the stream. Special thanks going out to Atelier Heidi for all those gift subs during the stream.
Yeah,
That
that's
was super awesome. To Snoozy Sloth and Diegus for the donations. Those are incredibly helpful and greatly appreciated. I'll follow up with a final thing. If you have Amazon Prime or Twitch Prime and aren't using your Twitch Prime free sub that you have, consider giving me a sub. I'd greatly appreciate it.
You can use that Dutch angle icon.
Yeah, the Dutch angle. Everyone's using it.
Incentive.
Use that on someone else's channel and they'll be like, what the fuck
What the
even
fuck
is
is
that?
this?
It is
DA,
so
man.
incredibly specific. Is that a DeviantArt icon?
Is it DeviantArt?
Is this DeviantArt?
Those are dark times.
Oh Lord. Yeah, I think that wraps up the show. Thank you again, everyone, for watching. Yeah, have an awesome night, and we will see you next week.
Yay.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.